and we'll wait at the baseball field for further instruction. Everything good?
I'm looking for a flag.
Oh,
Oh,
talk slow. And then just give us a minute here.
We got a television camera. Pete, don't act up.
Can't hear. People have said they can't hear when you speak.
Nope.
I understand. We're just waiting to find a flag, and I will try to clarify a few things before we begin. But
I have a.
we were made aware.
Oh, look at it.
No flag?
Nope, but we can do it without it.
Oh, it's out in the hall.
It's out in the hall.
Yeah, there's one out in the hall.
We have a flag out in the hall, so
It's a big,
Right.
somebody said something close to a.
Did you hit the little button on the top of the thing?
Yeah, no, he's.
oh no, I'm just waiting. I'm
live.
just waiting for the flag.
Yeah, there it is. Ray's got it.
who's gonna hold it?
All right.
Ray, could you hold that? Watch the fan. Watch the fan.
Oh, it's on a stand, okay.
All right.
Just put it right there.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. Good.
And what? Hold on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Okay, if we could all now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for men and women serving in harm's way.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Okay. Begin with roll call.
Mr. Aguiar,
Here.
Ms. Abbott,
Here.
Mr. Gleason,
Here.
Mr. Hamilton,
Here.
Mr. Katzman,
Here.
Mr. Levesque.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. We are live streaming tonight. Those of you that are participating remotely via Zoom, there's an icon for you to, it would indicate there's a hand that you could click on to indicate you have a question. If you're calling in on your phone, *9 will indicate to the host you have a question. *6 will allow you to mute and unmute your phone. If you're speaking tonight, either on the phone, through the Zoom or in person, please state your name and address for the town clerk. This is a little bit, the acoustics in here are a little bit different. I know it might be a little bit harder to hear. For counselors or anybody speaking tonight, try to speak directly into the microphone so that everyone can hear us. With that being said, I'd also ask that you folks try not to have your own individual conversations, because that also, well, that noise comes forward and then it's hard for us to hear as well. So we just ask for you to, keep the talking to a minimum. Please no shouting during people speaking. I'd like to make sure everybody has the courtesy to be able to speak without any, interrupting or shouting from the audience. And with that, we will begin with our old business. The first item under old business is discussion regarding pavement improvement East Main Road. Before we begin, I will need to recuse myself on this matter. But I will be back to sit in on the next item, but I do have to recuse on new business number 3 as well. So DOT. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Katzman.
Mr. President, can I make a motion that we hear new business 3 and old business 1 at the same time, that we can group them together so we don't have to jump up and down?
Yes, the motion is recognized. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to move new business 3 up to be discussed along with old business 1 is seconded. All those in favor?
Point of order, just council, what is the reason for that? I was not here for the Monday meeting.
Chuck, because they're part of the same discussion.
Okay, all right.
They're both about the repavement and the roundabout on East Main Road. So better to put them both together than having Mr. Aguirre leave, come back, do 2 items, then leave again. So let's do the 2 items together, and then he can stay for all the trash talk.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on then to, can everyone hear me, by the way? Okay, good. No. How about now? All right.
Too well.
We need more powerful microphones.
When they turn the volume up, you're gonna hear that squeaking.
Okay.
If she turns the volume up, that squeaking is what you're gonna hear.
Sure, it's on feedback.
I'll just
My Alexa-
talk right into the microphone.
It was off.
Um,
Is red.
So moving on
It's
to
on.
old business number 1, pavement improvements. Mr. Rayner, you have a backup material you've submitted to the council. You want to speak to it?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, council, ladies and gentlemen. Right before Thanksgiving, last Tuesday, Rhode Island Department of Transportation Director Peter Alviti asked to have a meeting with me. I did not know what the subject of that meeting was going to be until the meeting commenced. Bottom line is, I tried to capture it in a memo to you. It was also backed up by an email from the director of the East Main Road paving project. Bottom line up front, he wanted to discuss the roundabout. Specifically, he's seeking the town's affirmation to proceed with the project as designed with that roundabout. He was made aware that there are stakeholders with varying opinions on the installation of the roundabout. So I informed him that I don't speak for the town nor the council, and this would have to go before the council for their discussion, hence the reason for it being on the agenda. I asked what are the implications for or against. I received the memo, which is part of the backup, that outlines that if the town does not support the roundabout, that DOT would modify the project and they would strictly focus on the resurfacing. So in other words, repaving of East Main Road only. However, if that is what the town desires, there are some implications that DOT wants to make us aware of. Specifically, the addition of sidewalks, additional crosswalks, and shared use path that were originally part of the project would have to be removed. And those would have to be removed because anytime you add impervious surface, you have to address that with stormwater mitigation. And that was going to be addressed in the project as designed with a sand filter stormwater treatment unit at the bank property in the vicinity of the proposed roundabout. So if the roundabout is removed, those requirements would no longer be met, and then that would necessitate the removal of the impervious additions from the project. there was a meeting at DOT on Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving, the day after I had this meeting with DOT, to highlight this, send me the memo, and confirm that we would place this on the agenda and that you would have a chance to speak to it. So here we are tonight. It's a simple question with a lot of unsimple issues involved. Does the council, does the town still support the roundabout at the juncture of East Main Road and Turnpike? And we have to give an answer to DOT because DOT is ready to issue the request for proposals for this project. They need to get the contracts let in time for the paving season to begin in early spring. And so there we have it.
There's a special code to get internet. There probably is, but I don't know it. Councilmember Ryan needs help connecting to Wi-Fi.
He should just connect on if he connected last time. Oh, he wasn't here last time.
I don't know that he was present last time.
Thank you.
We're just helping Councilmember Ryan connect to Wi-Fi.
Point of information.
Can we hold off on that until I want to have council members speak to the proposal, and then we will stay here as long as it takes to hear from everyone. Okay. It's one of the reasons we started at 6 o'clock. If you want to address the issue. So, thank you, Mr. Rayner. Before we take public comment, and I'm not limiting council members' time to take public comment, but before we do take public comment, are there any council members who want to have the floor?
Sure.
Mr. Levesque. Have to hold it right
I
up to
certainly
it.
thank you all for being here.
You need to talk right into it, Chuck.
Right into it.
Like really,
mic.
because otherwise they say they can't hear. You have to hold it right up to you.
The whole idea about not yelling out is what you just did. Okay, I apologize for that. Can you hear me now? No.
You really have to get your lips right on that thing, almost.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Just take the mic out. and put it
Yeah,
in your
just
mouth.
hold it and
Yeah.
yeah, just like right here, like so.
It's funny that I'm in Portsmouth High School where every teacher always seemed to hear me no matter how far I was away. All right, how are we doing now? Okay. So I appreciate the fact that all you folks are out here. And regardless of my comments, I will say to you that I am going to listen. However, I have been hoping for this roundabout since probably 1980. Okay. When we actually first expanded East Main Road to make it 4-lane, which was in the 60s, but in particular, when we had the diversion to pick up 24 up Turnpike Avenue, it became clear that that was a traffic bottleneck and a real problem, and that it had to be in some fashion addressed. On my way here tonight, two things happened that made me recollect why exactly I had a problem. All of you know what a yellow light means at a traffic signal. It means drive as fast as you can because it's about to turn red, okay? And that's what people do. That's why at intersections, we often have fairly serious accidents because people are trying to make up time. In addition, what I had happen was that at the top of Park Avenue, somebody coming up what I'll call Chase Road decided they wanted to cut across to Park Avenue. They were going south. And in cutting off, they came close to doing head on to somebody coming down East Main the other way, excuse me, and pretty much near clipped me. That's another thing that happens at these type of intersections. I have been in many countries where roundabouts work perfectly, do exactly what they're supposed to do. They calm traffic, they prevent more serious accidents, and they move people along. I would actually like to see dozens of them in this town. I can tell you a few places that I would like to see them. Corey Lane. I mean, that intersection is ridiculous. Near the town hall, it seems to me that would make some sense. They calm traffic, they prevent more serious accidents, and they move traffic along. It happens in Europe, it happens throughout this state, it happens in every state in the country. And finally, I will tell you, you may not have respect for the engineers up at DOT. I do not know if you do, but they have made a study of this. They also have statistical evidence demonstrating what I've just said to you. And all of them are saying that this is something we should do. And so I'm going to suggest to you, I would ask you to consider, is that if you are against this, bring some facts that dispute the fact that in the whole world, these things work. All of the engineering studies suggest that they work. They prevent more serious accidents and they move traffic along better. If you have other complaints, I will certainly listen to them. Thank you.
Ms. Abbott.
Can you hear me? I agree with what Councilor Levesque said. I think that intersection is incredibly dangerous. It's one of the most poorly configured intersections in all of Portsmouth. I have personally seen many accidents there. I reached out to the chief of police for statistics for that particular intersection. We have, 14, 15, up to 19 accidents per year just at that one intersection. If that was any one of our children in here, I'm sure you feel differently about it. I don't want to wait for more people to get hurt. The point of roundabouts is to calm down traffic, slow down traffic, improve safety, reduce the number of accidents, and give other users like pedestrians and cyclists the opportunity to cross intersections safely while still moving traffic through and not causing major log jams. So I've done a lot of reading and a lot of research on this to kind of determine whether this was a good idea or not. I do think that intersection is a perfect candidate for a well-designed roundabout that addresses the needs and the goals for what we want that area in Portsmouth, which for 20 plus years has been referred to as our town center. I don't think anyone wants to see DOT come in and turn East Main Road into a 4-lane superhighway through the middle of our town. So the goal is to slow down traffic, calm it down so that we can have a usable, accessible, and pleasant town center area. So with that in mind, I did look at some different sources for information and statistics about roundabouts. International Institute for Highway Safety says roundabouts are a safer alternative to traffic signals and stop signs. Roundabouts improve traffic flow and are better for the environment, and roundabouts are generally safer for pedestrians. Federal Highway Administration, why are roundabouts safer? The primary characteristics of the modern roundabout reduce many of the safety hazards of traditional intersections and non-conforming traffic circles. You can do your own research and read it. I don't need to go into the details, but an entire report from the state of Minnesota. This one actually I thought was pretty interesting. The first Minnesota modern roundabout was constructed in 1995. They've built nearly 200 roundabouts across the state since then. Roundabouts in Minnesota have had over an 80% reduction in fatal and serious injury crashes. I mean, that alone speaks for itself. I think it is natural and normal for people to be hesitant with change. I think change is difficult. Yes, it's probably going to take a little time to get used to a roundabout, but given all the options that we have for the best interest of the town of Portsmouth and our goals and objectives for the town center area, I do firmly believe that a roundabout is the best solution for that intersection. The alternative, as Mr. Rayner described, is that we don't approve the roundabout. They come in and repave East Main Road and repave that intersection, don't put in sidewalks, don't put in a shared use path. And I think that would be a huge, huge mistake. for a generation of Portsmouth residents. And me, my children, possibly even my grandkids would have to deal with the road and that intersection in its current state with just some lipstick applied on a pig and not fundamentally resolve the issues that we have with the roadway in that area. So unequivocally, we have to move forward with this project.
Ryan. So when I was first made aware of this, I'd say that I was enthusiastic. I don't like roundabouts. I don't know how to drive on them. I don't do it very often. And I've had, as I'm sure many of us have had, the experience of driving down that one wonderful road in Warwick that is 3 roundabouts in a row and winding up in Matunic or maybe Providence. How they do that and negotiate it, I don't know. So was not thrilled with the idea, but I'm also not thrilled with that intersection, especially coming out of Clements and going south on East Main Road. It is never clear to me who has the right of way, the people barreling down off the Turnpike or me. And, you know, unfortunately, Turnpike is a 1-lane road, which turns at that intersection into a 2-lane road. And frequently people who are in a hurry want to suddenly get over into the left-hand lane to pass the slow traffic in front of them, which makes negotiating that particular turn even more interesting. So my wife started yelling at me because I was being unreasonable, which happens frequently, actually. And I did go onto the website, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, where unfortunately for me, there is one study after another that seems to echo what the other counselors, particularly Councilwoman Abbott, had to say. Unfortunately, statistically, roundabouts do seem to reduce the number of fatal accidents. And although I would not be thrilled to see these throughout the town, I disagree with you there, Councilor Levesque, but at that one particular intersection, I don't think I would be too averse to it because, again, that one turn coming out of Clements just, it's always unnecessarily exciting.
Thank you, council members. Any other council members? I'd like to now open. I'm sorry, Mr. Councilmember Gleason.
If you would. Hello?
Hello.
Okay. I'd like to bring up some of my concerns about the roundabout. This goes back to 2003, this planning. And at the time, if you recall, there was 3 roundabouts in the picture here. One at Clements, one at Town Hall, and I believe one's Florence Farm, so one in the middle. And looking at the design of these things, I would say they are definitely traffic calming measures. People are going to slow down. The concept was it would force people, if you will, to slow down from Clements Market to the Town Hall and notice the town center area where we have these nice new shops somehow, some way. I never had much faith in this whole project really going too far, and here we are 20 years later. I think we can agree that the town center project as a whole has kind of gone by the wayside. Myself, I thought the town center really belongs in Newtown, where our forefathers actually believed it should be as well. The irony of the whole thing of RIDOT coming before us and saying, I need an answer now, is that we've been waiting years for them to make improvements on East Main Road. We know, regardless of what we do here, as soon as we put new pavement on East Main Road, are people going to slow down or are they going to pick up speed? People like the speed on new tar. We're going to have that issue. We're going to have it at all our intersections. And Clements Market intersection is just one of many that we have in town. I reached out to Chief Peters as well, and if I'm not mistaken, he correct me, the Clements Market intersection, for lack of better words, is responsible for about 2.9% of the accidents on average in a year in the town of Portsmouth. I asked the police department to give me some further statistics, and my hats off to Madeline in the office there. She did a lot of research because apparently you just can't push a button and get these stats. You have to go through the records one by one, but she actually did that. And I asked her to look at East Main Road as a whole. And on East Main Road since 2018, we have had a total of 664 accidents. At that intersection, the average is less than 10%. And this is just East Main Road I'm talking about. I'm not including West Main Road. And again, like I say, as a whole in town, less than 3% of the accidents occur at this intersection. Would a roundabout help us? Probably. But I think it's going to slow people down to the point where when they leave that roundabout, they're just going to pick up as much speed as they can to gain for all the lost time they've made trying to get to this roundabout. Just a matter of opinion. By the way, the last meeting of the town center was 2011. So I guess it really hasn't been a priority. And I guess as far as DOT goes, I don't think they're calling it a town center project anymore. But obviously they need to do something when they put the new tar down on East Main Road. My other concerns are for the businesses in that area specifically. Looking at Clinic Avenue in Middletown, a 2-year project is probably 2.5, 3 years now. The impact on the businesses on Aquidneck Avenue have been tremendous. People avoid that street during construction. We know we're going to have problems on East Main Road, no matter what we do. It's part of, like, people in the construction business say, you have to do it, you're going to have headaches with it, and you have to put up with it. But are we going to suffer as far as our business places? I think it's going to be a big burden on them, and I have my concerns. If you just pave it the way it is, you're not putting down more impervious structure, and you're just repaving just the way it is, the project would go a lot quicker, in my opinion. Lastly, a couple thoughts to think about. If the roundabout was eliminated, I would think that there's some substantial savings there. And perhaps the DOT could actually take that money and put sidewalks on Sprague Street, like they've been talking about for the last 10 or 12 years. So people leaving this high school have a safe way to walk home. We're already talking about it as a tips, but here's your extra money. Let's do it now. There was one letter that we received from Barry at Lake Newport, I guess is their organization, in favor of a roundabout, for bicycle safety. Myself, I think, I do ride a bike. I won't ride it on East or West Main roads, but I think the preferred route should still be West Main Road, a plan that we approved about 2012 or 2013 to get people on Stringham Road down to Burma Road through the Melville campgrounds. Why we would want to concentrate on bicycle traffic on East Main Road is beyond me. I think it would be a safer method. Lastly, I don't know that RIDOC could tell us, hey, we're not going to give you sidewalks. We have been lacking those sidewalks for the last, they're not there. There's a section of sidewalk near the police station, if I'm not mistaken, in front of the town hall. People that have to walk down to Clements Market from Anthony House or any of those facilities there, they're walking on the grass, they're walking on snow, they're avoiding, there's a tree stump in the middle of one of the paths there. That needs to go away. We need to get RIDOC to do the sidewalks at all costs. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Gleason. I did have I imagine there is no answer to this question, but Mr. Rayner, reading the letter from the DOT, it does not say that that the department will pave East Main Road if the roundabout is not put in. What it says is the department would potentially be able to move forward on schedule. Have you had any conversations to give you better comfort one way or another on that equivocating language, what their intentions are?
Yeah, there's only about 2 topics I've been able to discuss in the last 2 weeks, and this is one of them. I can only take DOT at its word. At the meeting with Director Alviti, he made it clear that if the roundabout is not supported by the town, that the project would have to be re-wickered. But there was no, at the conclusion of that meeting, there was no confirmation that the paving would still be done next year. However, there was a follow-on meeting on the day after where it was relayed to me that if the roundabout is not completed, this would just become a paving project. I'm assuming that they would still be able to get I can't speak for DOT, but I'm assuming that they would still be able to get the RFP, the request for proposals, out to the contractors, and that the contracts would be signed in time for the paving season this spring. So I have no indication that the paving would not happen. With respect to the other projects, he made it very clear that it's not whether they want to put the sidewalks in or not, or the other things. These were all parts of studies that have been done for the last 20 years. It all comes down to the rules and regulations regarding stormwater mitigation, stormwater runoff. If you create an impervious surface, they have to mitigate the stormwater runoff from those impervious surfaces. So I took from the conversations that I have had with DOT over the last week and a half, that if it's just going to be a paving project, the sidewalks will not be included in that. Maybe we have sway in other areas, but I'm not aware of it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to, if council members are, I'd like to open the podium up to public comment. I'm sure there are a lot of people who would like to speak. I would ask that form a line or just come when you see the next opportunity. I'd ask when you speak, please speak into the microphone if you can. Start by saying your name and address so that the clerk can record your comments and try to keep your remarks focused on the question before us, which is approval or disapproval of the roundabout as a feature that the DOT is asking us to weigh in on.
Peter Roberts, 80 Almond Avenue, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. The first thing I want to bring up is at that intersection, there's one lane that is constant, all the way up past the City Hall. And that's the one that's going to go up Bristol Ferry. The rest of them have very few traffic in comparison to that. You put a rotary in there, that lane will never stop. You will have no way to get into it. And I've seen this happen at other rotaries, especially down when I'm going to the base and gate 1. Sometimes that's so heavy, you can't get in there. And people will floor it to get out in front of you. And I've had to slam on my brakes many times. So evidently when you've gone there, it hasn't been the right times. Okay, now that traffic is unbelievable. And when there's a rotary, they're not going to stop. And they go all the way up the hill, even past the hill. And they're going to keep coming. You're not going to stop them. And another thing, let's talk about what DOT has done on East Main Road from where Clemens is going down to the entrance to 24. They repaved that road. They put all new sidewalks in, but never touched anything underneath it. All those storm drains are horrific. They are in terrible shape. And that sidewalk they put there is all concrete. The most expensive you can do. It wasn't done so that when you remove it, it won't cost that much. That's a fortune. It's going to be unbelievable. They didn't do the water lines. That stuff has been under there forever. And nobody has ever mentioned it. I have a few times at different meetings. I've never heard anything from it. And what are you going to do when they come in and do half a job? And nobody does anything about it. Unless Spread Street, sidewalk should have been there a long time ago. Kids walk in the street because there's nowhere to walk. And that road is still unbelievable, the condition it's in. Now you go over to Turkey Hill. Everybody know what Turkey Hill is?
Yep.
All right, over to the right-hand side is the two-lane road. That was originally the road. And they completely resurfaced that road, but didn't do Spring Street. There's 5 homes on that street. So what they did is they did somebody's driveway. And when you get up the top and you can go on Corey's Lane there, to avoid the red light, they closed that off, so you can't do it anymore. They didn't do that for us. And also,
Mr. Roberts, if I may, there are no shortage of things we can complain about DOT's work about. I'd like you to focus your remarks on.
I am focusing on the same thing everybody else talked about, sir.
The roundabout and East Main Road.
Everybody else talked about the other roads. Why can't I? Another thing, at Lawrence Valley, that is the old road. They resurfaced that whole thing from up by the top of the hill down to the bottom. There's no homes on it. But they didn't do Sprague Street. Sprague Street is a washboard, okay? And you want to avoid me talking about that? I think there's a reason for that. All right,
There's no reason for it other than.
Yes, there is, sir, because you're interrupting me. This stuff hasn't been done. Did you hear what I said?
I certainly did. Thank you. And please proceed. I don't mean to interrupt you. I just would like everyone to focus on the subject.
So what we got to do here is everybody to start opening up. These things haven't been done, and they're going to come and tell us they won't put sidewalks in and stuff like that. This is stuff that's been going on and on and on, and they're hoping they can get it by us, all right? Nobody wants a rotary there, okay? And it's not a roundabout, it's a rotary, all right? I'm 75 years old. I know what I've been calling it for years, all right? Now they want to change the names for something else? No, no. This is ridiculous. This is somebody's got an idea they want to do something. They've changed names to say things. Roundabout, it's a rotary. Okay. And when they did East Main Road already, they did not do a complete job. And to go in and finish that job, it's going to cost millions of dollars. Because every year it goes by, the price goes up. All right. I want to hear you talking more about what they've done wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Steve Moran, Carriage Drive. I missed any previous meetings on this, so this may be a redundant question, but maybe Mr. Rayner could answer this for me. What's the average annual daily traffic count at that intersection?
I don't know. I would ask our police chief, is he here tonight? I would ask our police chief, he may have better information on that. I don't know.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I was going through the Portsmouth Comprehensive Community Plan, and I saw there were 2 numbers in there from 2020, that Turnpike Avenue had 8,000 daily and Route 114 had 33,000. That's 3 years ago. So I'm sure the traffic's increased. And I don't have a problem with roundabouts. I've seen them work around the world. You know, they're great in a sense. My concern is how much traffic is going through there. And I did some research on roundabouts or rotary, and the more traffic you have, the bigger the roundabout has to be. So say if it was 8,000, the center island has to be 50 to 100 feet in circumference. If you look at the one on Admiral Calfus Road, that's about 75 feet. But if it's 33,000, you need 150 to 200 feet for the center. And then you need about 15 to 20 feet for the lanes going around it. So my concern is 18-wheelers that come up and down there. Right now, they kind of just turn left up Turnpike and they go straight. But for those things to turn around in a roundabout, I think it's, you know, it has to be a pretty sizable one. And I don't know what RIDOT is telling us, how big that is, but if they put something too small in there, it's going to be a nightmare. So anyway, that's my thoughts on a roundabout.
Thank you.
Hello, Carol, 53 Fisher Circle in Portsmouth. I wanted to thank everyone up here for your service to our town. I'm not here to form an opinion. My question was a point of information. Because I'd like to let your opinions and the opinions of my fellow residents to really decide that for me. But why was the president recused from this conversation?
I would prefer the president himself to express it, but as I understand it, either the company he works for does work for DOT on occasion, or he himself is a consultant to DOT on occasion. And so to avoid an appearance of conflict, he is recused and he has recused himself from being related to East Main Road for a long time. I don't know.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Cyril Brown, 2631 East Main Road. I live pretty much right on top of Clements Market, and I don't know anybody else that is here, but I can easily walk outside and stand there right in the center of the roundabout, proposed roundabout. And I'm as well traveled as I am, and I have gone to many a country and have seen roundabouts work because that's all they use. I will also state that in the plans that have been proposed to me and have been open to everybody, that it's not that well thought out as most people kind of see. It needs definite work, and East Main Road in itself is definitely quite dangerous, especially the road through the library, because I can easily walk outside my house, watch the amount of people that drive past my house, just skip the light, drive, and majority of the time, even the accidents that have been quoted to you have not included the accidents that have been there because that's on that road. And especially with the incident that just happened 2 weeks ago with the head of Newport Hospital in front of my house, kind of saw the backup traffic jam that I know that it's all gonna be at night, but again, it's still a problem if they decide to do something during the day, something happens, the backup is there. It would have to be at least 3 lanes, so to speak, because you have to have an immediate right turn into Clements, and then the other 2 to go into the roundabout, let alone the fact that people unaware of how to drive in a roundabout, especially around here. I am one of probably the few people in this room that know how to drive a roundabout. As soon as you enter, you can enter a roundabout at 30 miles an hour and leave it 30 miles an hour. It makes you don't need to stop, you don't need to slow down. As long as the other people there know how to drive and know how to use their blinkers and know how to do that sort of thing. Am I opposed to it? No, but I am opposed to the location of it. It could be used elsewhere in Portsmouth. I mean, you don't need a 5-lane intersection at Mount Hope Bridge, but you can't put a roundabout there because it's way too small. But it definitely is not the way that RID DOT have given you the plans for. I can attest to you looking at it and measuring it out that it is just not a viable POI for Portsmouth unless somebody's willing to give up some extra land that they are for that. It just needs to be rethought and relooked at and reevaluated. So, and especially like biking and that sort of thing, I don't know. I'm not a cyclist, but I have run up the hill for the last 1.5 years. It would be nice to have sidewalks, but at the same time, not worth the trouble of getting a roundabout for sidewalks when we could redo the roads and have sidewalks and revisit it at either a later time or maybe even redo the lights, because the majority of the people that are there are leaving the island to go back through Bristol more, and it's not people that live on the island for the most part. Maybe instead of the regular lights, it's arrows, because the majority of the time it's people blasting through because they just mentally see a green light in the right lane and they think that they have a green light in the left. But I mean, like I said, I'm there all the time, and I can post up and just kind of watch the chaos unfold that it is on East Main. But I can tell you that not this one, but definitely something along the lines that is, again, better thought through. And that is that's all. So,
thank you very much. Ms. Abbott asks, and then you.
No.
There we go. Just two comments that I want to make based on input we've had from a couple of people. The last gentleman that spoke, I agree with you. I think there's a running list of improvements or comments that apply to the current design. I think we will be pursuing revisions or at least, providing our comments to DOT on the existing design to better adjust the roundabout to what our town needs. And then just in response to what Mr. Gleason said a little while ago, we did do an entire traffic safety study on East Main Road, and DOT provided an entire report with recommendations to improve the safety on East Main Road and to reduce the number of accidents from north of Portsmouth all the way down to the Middletown line. One key piece of it was the roundabout at that particular intersection. They had recommendations for a bunch of other intersections. I think the entire plan and a lot of the recommendations are worthwhile of implementation, and this just happens to be a really, really big piece of it. Whether it's 10% or 3% or however many percent of accidents, it's still a safety improvement that we need to do.
Thank you, Councilor Abbott, for that information. If I could trouble the last speaker, I just had a question for him if he cares to answer. And the question is whether DOT provided you drawings for the roundabout as being an abutter to this project.
I'm sorry.
They met with them. They met with them, but didn't leave drawing.
Thank you for coming down.
If you don't mind using the
There are
microphone.
40 people on the Zoom meeting. I'm sure they'd love to hear your response.
They did give me blueprints for the roundabout and explanation for where things should be going, along with the explanation and request of parking for construction vehicles. So.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
So, Mr. Levesque, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sir.
Thank you.
Kevin Fennessy, 2774 East Main Road. And for clarification, Newtown section of Portsmouth goes from Freeborn Street to Sprague Street. It has always been that way, and it has always been the center of town, whether or not some folks felt that 3 churches, 2 schools, and probably over 30 businesses doesn't merit being called the center of town. I don't know what does. But anyway, what I want to speak to specifically is the fact that a roundabout being in place or not in place is still not going to reduce, unless we have enforcement, the amount of traffic, the amount of speed of that traffic. And I could ask a question of everyone here who has come down Quaker Hill and has had and trying as best as they could to go 25 miles per hour, and had someone blow the horn, scream and yell, give them, an obscene gesture. Tell me, how many people have had that happen to them? Okay? I remember as a boy, Mr. Levesque, you will remember also when you were younger, that if you were riding in a car coming down Quaker Hill at 27 miles an hour, a state police trooper sat at the bottom of the hill and said, "Whoop, come right over here. You're being stopped." And that controlled the traffic on Quaker Hill. But those days, there wasn't anywhere near the amount of traffic that we have today. It's incredible. I've sat at the roundabout in Tiverton near Bally's, going south on Stafford Road. And the traffic coming north on Stafford Road, which goes to what our first speaker talked about, the traffic coming, school buses, people going to work, whatever, once they have their opportunity to get into that roundabout, you're not getting in if you're going either, on either one of the 4 other ways to get into that roundabout. We have a situation where you have a grocery store, Clements Market, it's very busy almost all the time. We have the East Main Road, we have Turnpike Avenue, and then we have East Main Road coming from the center of town. Once that traffic at 3:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon starts to come down Quaker Hill at 35, 45, 55 miles an hour, okay, those people are not going to stop. And right now, it's a consistent thing, and it bugs me no end, that people coming to avoid the light go down and then make a quick turn onto Freeborn Street to try to cut off the rest of the traffic at Turnpike Avenue. And I'm surprised that there haven't been, multiple accidents right there. So a roundabout, to have one or not to have one, it seems to me that when I sat in this auditorium when it was first proposed, what did we say? It was 2003.
Yep, 03.
It was something that was to be considered at the time. And they were going to go ahead and do it, and everything was going to be just fine. But the traffic that was on the East Main Road at that time is nothing like the traffic and the speeding traffic that's on there right now.
I certainly do remember, actually, various police departments had stops at the back, at the bottom, at Charlie's gas station or at a Mopley, and you never saw people swearing and getting mad as when the police had stopped somebody during the heavy traffic, and all of a sudden it was really backed up. I agree with you. We have to slow traffic all the way down. And I mean, East Main Road to the south of Bank Newport is an old cow path that's got to be dealt with at some point. Okay, it's just a hazardous place to drive. My colleague is mentioning that it might cost money. I hadn't thought of that. But anyway, and I do remember the Freeborn Street bypass. I remember a lot of people using that, especially when I was 18.
They still are.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Anthony. I reside in Swansea, Massachusetts, but I own Clements Market. My family has owned and operated Clements Marketplace, or as many of you will remember it as Portsmouth IGA, for 43 years since 1980. I'm asking that you eliminate the roundabout from the East Main Road Improvement Project. I realize you have a lot of people who want to speak tonight. Because of time constraints, I would like to focus on the impact to business that must be considered when making your decision. Not just a few businesses will be hurt with a project of this magnitude, but many will feel the negative effects. I think we all can admit that we will avoid construction areas whenever possible. The length of time this project will take to complete, along with the scope of constructing a 2-lane roundabout, will take customers and residents away from this area for a very long time. Businesses from this intersection north to Boyd's Lane also stand to be hurt due to traffic detouring away from this area. The harmful economic effects will be long-lasting, and you will have some business that will not survive if a roundabout is not removed from this plan. You must look at other things impacted when commerce is affected. Local business support the community in a number of ways. Sponsorships, donations, providing jobs or internships. At Clements, we do all those things, but we also host an annual charity golf tournament at Green Valley Country Club. In 31 years of this event, we've raised over $475,000. And this year alone, we donated $65,000 to more than 20 local area nonprofit organizations. We also have a Friends Fund Community Partners Program that started back in 1997. This program has 73 nonprofit organizations registered, and we've given back over $500,000 to the Portsmouth community. When businesses are impacted, so are these programs, and therefore the community suffers. To close, I would like to say many intersections could be changed to make them safer. Of course, East Main Road and Turnpike is no different. However, it is not a dangerous intersection when you look at the statistics that Mr. Gleason provided. That being said, there are much less invasive ways to make this area safer without spending millions of dollars to construct a roundabout that will take years to complete at the inconvenience of residents and a deterioration of local business. Portsmouth is a small, tight-knit community who trusts the people elected to represent them, always considering the needs and desires of the town residents and business first when voting on an issue, especially an issue like this that will have so many intended and unintended consequences. We hope that you will echo the town's needs and desires with your vote on this issue and not vote to appease the state or capitulate to their ultimatum. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I ask a question? Yeah. I used to shop at the IGA before I even owned my own home in Portsmouth. And I shopped there as recently as today. So I love Clemens Market. And I also love how dedicated to being a member of the community Clemens Market is. I remember when the town center plan was being formulated and circulated and weighed in upon 20, give or take, years ago. And I recall, I could be mistaken, but I recall that Clemens Market, you were in favor of the plan at that time.
I was not necessarily in favor of it. My father and I got involved on the committee because I wanted to monitor what was going on. Sure. And know, what they thought they were going to do with 3 roundabouts and a median down the middle. And it was, they wanted to put buildings out in front of my store, which would have blocked my store. So I had a seat at the table, so I had a voice. And it never went anywhere. I mean, we sat for years with that committee. It blew up for a little bit, it got put back together, and nothing ever happened with it.
Sure. Thank you. I apologize. I was under a misimpression that we were in favor of something at a time and something's changed. I was going to ask what's changed, but apparently.
No. Thank you.
Mr. Levesque.
I remember when there was the First National next door. I knew your dad very well. And I remember when that was a trailer park, actually, where the Clemens now sits. I can appreciate, I see actually a couple of people I know who have businesses in the community. This is not the DOT's first rodeo. I know that's a hacky phrase, but I will tell you that you have a legitimate claim if your businesses are impacted by a construction project that goes on. And you actually, all you have to do is produce your income statements, and if it's demonstrated that the impact of the construction decreased your income, you will have compensation. And they are aware of trying to do this in a way that's most convenient, if that's the phrase, to the business and the people and the folks in the community and the area. And the other thing I will say to you is that, quite frankly, right now, it's very risky coming out of Clemens. I'm sorry, it is. I come out of there and try to do the left-hand turn that somebody described. I think it was my colleague, Dr. Yeah, that's right, you're guilty. But it can be very risky.
Mr. I said in my statement that I know there are things that could be done to improve that intersection, and there are, I'm certain of that. But a roundabout is a major undertaking that after the fact, when I've lost business, I can go to them and get but that's not going to save jobs. That's not going to help my store survive.
They're not unaware of this kind of problem. They compensate people when it's going on. All right, so it's not something you have. And again, I appreciate what your family has done in that area. I appreciate the fact that it's been the local supermarket, the only supermarket in town. all right, and has lived up to a fine tradition. I've even gone by Island Ave or whatever it is and paid my grocery bill, all right? But the fact is, I believe this is the better way for all of us in the future, and I think your concerns, extremely legitimate, will be addressed. And I stand here ready to help you in any way to make sure they are addressed.
The help,
I have a question relating to this.
Could we just, sure, did you want to
well, I
respond?
just wanted to say, you know, I'm not just speaking for my business, you know, we've gotten together collectively with the business community, and there are a lot of people that are very nervous about it.
I see one of them at least behind you.
There's a couple. I don't know if they're, you know, all here prepared to speak tonight, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jody Redlick, 162 Spring Hill Road in Portsmouth. And I got up because while I agree with the philosophy of the roundabout, what I don't agree with is the fact that it is a nail. And you know, if only the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I'm afraid that the roundabout is in fact the DOT's nail that they're sticking into the town, because that's the only solution they have for the overwhelming problem of 25,000 in 2018, 25,800 cars on East Main Road. They don't have any other solutions to try to calm it down. And I don't know that I think our town is the right nailhead. Thank you.
Scott Pacelli, Gideon Long Lane, Rhode Island. I'm an owner of a business on East Main Road near Clements Food Works. I'm also concerned about the timeline to do this project. Being with the roundabout, I'm looking at 2 to 3 construction cycles, it's told. I also own Pickles on Aquinic Avenue. And I don't know if anyone traveled Aquinic Avenue the last 2 years. That is a 1 mile road. It's taken 2.5 years. And all they had to do was repave it, put some drainage in. We lost a lot of business there. Haven't got any compensation from DOT. On 3 occasions on Aquinic Avenue, we had to go out and tell them to move all their vehicles off our parking lot. So whatever customers did come by would be able to park there. So I don't think they're very business friendly. I know they're trying to jam this down our throat by, if you don't put it in, we don't get any sidewalks, bike paths. But I know everyone says it's very fast going down East Main Road. But I don't know if anyone's been down East Main Road between 3 and 6 p.m. I don't think you're moving more than 10 miles an hour. So that's not very fast. Maybe at 10 a.m. when there's very few cars. So it's another thorn on my side. But that's all I wanted to add. It's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna help if they would just reconfigure the lights maybe, like Valley Road does in East Main Road, where certain cars can go certain ways at certain time, not just a green light where you can go down East Main Road, you can make a turn. And with a roundabout coming out of Clements Market between 4 and 6 p.m., you're not gonna get in that roundabout with all those cars coming down. And DOT has not addressed that at all. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. My name is Sarah Zlatizek. I reside in Tiverton, but I am the store manager at Portsmouth Shop, 2511 East Main Road. This past May, a very small group of stakeholders was invited by DOT to Town Hall At that meeting, we learned of the plan to resurface East Main Road and to construct a 2-lane roundabout at the Clements intersection. The DOT representative spoke highly about roundabouts as traffic calming mechanisms, and specifically noted the success of the 3 roundabouts constructed in the Apponaug section of Warwick. So let's talk for a second about Warwick. Like Councillor Abbott, I have been doing lots of research, and I have so much paper. Articles about well-established businesses that went under during the lengthy construction cycles in Warwick. Other businesses moving to different locations that were easier for customers to access. Most Apponaug businesses saw losses of 40 to 60% of annual revenues during those years under construction. But what I'd really like to read you is an email from State Representative Evan Shanley, who serves the people in District 24, Warwick and East Greenwich. In a Hail Mary attempt 2 nights ago, I wrote to Rep. Shanley and asked for his take on how the Apponaug roundabouts were working in his district. This was his response. Hi, Sarah. I'm happy to help however I can. The roundabouts here have only been a partial success. I would not discount them categorically, but I would say that your council has to take into account local businesses and traffic patterns. If there are federal funds tied to the project, it's also problematic to go back and make any changes. It took 5 years to get approval to grind down a speed bump in a median to stop damaging our fire trucks. It has also been painfully obvious for 4 years that one roundabout on Post Road made what was previously a bad traffic situation even worse. And DOT and the federal government are still, quote unquote, studying it. Even when DOT agrees and wants to make a change, it can't without federal approval. This was an honest and unbiased feedback from someone in a neighboring city who is still troubleshooting a roundabout project years after completion. So what do we need now in Portsmouth? We need people to slow down when they're driving all over the roads, and a 2-lane roundabout at Clements will not solve that problem. We need a recalibration of traffic lights at the intersection of East Main and Turnpike to increase the safety. And most importantly, we need East Main Road resurfaced. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So, go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Neil Hingarani. I'm the president of Narragansett Engineering here in Portsmouth. Clements has hired us to help better understand what the impacts of this project may be to her site and her business. I'm also a resident. I've only been recently retained, and at this point, probably have more questions than answers. That's part of the problem. The project will affect Clements' stormwater facilities, their entry. It's going to require substantial regrading. A retaining wall, there's also temporary.
Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
Can everybody hear him? Because you're kind of looking down. If you look, try to talk into the microphone. I realize you have no.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So the project will affect the stormwater facilities, the entry, requires substantial regrading as well as a retaining wall, and temporary and permanent takings of her property and other adjoining properties. They have the right to be informed of the DOT's intentions, allow their experts to review necessary designs and reports, and be given the opportunity to seek answers to these questions. I have been through this process before. It was pre-COVID. I had a client in Middletown who owns a gas station convenience store in the Aquidneck Avenue project, and he was concerned that the project would affect his drive aisles. At that time, there was a town hall meeting, much like this one. DOT was there. We were able to meet with them, DOT staff, pose our questions, and we got answers. And the issue was more or less resolved that evening. To me, it seems obvious that if we're here tonight with as many folks in opposition with questions, that something's gone wrong with the stakeholder engagement process and probably needs to be revisited.
If I don't mean to interrupt, because I'd like you to continue, but specifically to that point of DOT not being here, Mr. Rayner, I recall you saying something about DOT no longer comes to municipalities. And that
I spoke with DOT today. Their intention is, once the RFP goes out, is to have the stakeholder meeting to iron out all the ins and outs.
And yet they want us to weigh in before the RFP goes out.
Yes.
Right. And I can understand, I'm sure you can understand why that would be hard to swallow for a property owner. They're really left with insufficient detail to make educated decisions at this point. We've been unable to get a full set of plans. Some plans have been circulated, right-of-way plans, et cetera, but not plans that show detailed grading and stormwater and the things that we're really interested in. I mean, simply put, I mean, what we and I suppose she are asking for are the town to help facilitate coordination with DOT and provide the materials and, if necessary, the time to do so. Some of our many questions include what the stormwater plan is. They're modifying some of Clement's stormwater basins. They're also proposing stormwater infrastructure that's upstream of the project. That may be enough, but without the engineering reports, we can't really assess if that's sufficient to avoid flooding in Clements' lot, just for example. How would the temporary access to Clements be accommodated? Very simple.
Point of, I know there are questions.
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a list of questions?
I just have some very brief examples to illustrate a point.
Well, continue.
Sure. How will the temporary access to Clements be accommodated? And again, specifically for the function of her business and her customers. And then obviously a big one is, you know, if this process is going to facilitate a corridor. Sure. If this process is going to facilitate a corridor that's in line with the complete street statutes and allow it to be safer for pedestrians, both in terms of the pedestrian safety and the roundabout design. I mean, what happens if the roundabout is excluded? I think it's unlikely that Portsmouth Town Center will ever be Thames Street, but obviously at a minimum, it should be accessible to everybody. Sidewalks in the shared use path are some of the most desirable aspects of this potential project. And if residents and ultimately council decide to omit the roundabout, at least I don't understand why it's not technically feasible to design stormwater mitigation to accommodate the sidewalks. It does not seem like anything proposing why there would be no middle ground option. Really, in sum, I believe what we're asking for is time and potentially assistance to help coordinate with DOT. We certainly can't answer these questions alone. It is primarily up to DOT and their consultants to design and in some cases explain this project. We can function as an owner's rep and help to sort of ensure their needs are met. It's likely that, you know, DOT has answers to these questions, or in, you know, cases where they don't, can accommodate potential concerns. But up to this point, we have been unable to obtain them. There was an APRA request for the plans that was denied. But again, at this point, it would appear that at least some additional time and coordination is necessary, even if it puts the project timeline on risk.
You've been involved in a project like this before. That's your expertise, right?
I've been involved as a bit player in projects like this. My MO is a little different.
Are you familiar with times that they actually, you know, start doing the request for proposal and start talking to people about fine tuning the plan?
Sure, of course.
Does every plan come out perfect right from the outset?
Of course not.
No, because they allow for. Okay, so are you familiar with DOT's rather fractured history with the town of Portsmouth?
Of course.
Okay.
Is that?
Thank you. By the way, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Good answers.
The last three speakers brought up really great points. I think they're all valid concerns. I think I share a lot of the same concerns. Mr. Rayner, just for my clarification, at what stage of design are they currently at?
The plans are at 100%, and just an answer to one of Neil's questions, the volume of stormwater.
If you talk right into the mic, Rich.
I apologize. The plans are at 100%, and an answer to one of the issues raised by Neil, the volume of stormwater retention at Clements will be the same as what is currently existing. There'll be no reduction in capacity.
Sure, we've seen that stated, and I don't think it's past Clements' right to see the engineering reports to verify that.
So back to my point, I think, if the plans are at 100% and they want to go out to RFP to keep the project moving forward, and we support the project moving forward, I think it would be reasonable for us to request workshops or a presentation with stakeholders so that we can address some of the concerns and understand how they might be addressed. My understanding or impression of what our option is right now is that if we turn this down and say we don't want it, that's it. The door is closed. They are going to grind it down, repave it. It'll be a huge disruption to business anyway, and we won't get any real improvements on East Main Road in that section of it. I think leaving the door open, because this is in the direction that we have wanted to go. And for as many people that are in here, I've talked to a lot of Portsmouth residents that feel very strongly about making improvements to that intersection. So in the interest of being collaborative and moving forward with RIDOT, I agree they're not perfect. There's a lot of things they do wrong. I don't like their methods. There's a lot of things we could complain about and harp about how RIDOT does things in the state of Rhode Island. But in the interest of Portsmouth and in moving us forward and finding the best solution for us, I think we do have to work collaboratively with RIDOT and try to get the best solutions possible by working with them rather than shooting them down and telling them to go away.
If you're looking for a response, I mean, I may not disagree with you. I think the comp plan, there's a statement in there that says something about 23% of our roads are DOT, and coordination with them is critical. And I mean, well written, couldn't appreciate that more. But again, I've only been involved in this process somewhat recently. I haven't seen that same level of collaboration as I have seen on prior projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary McDowell, 94 Point Road. And I do think it's very unfortunate that RIDOT is not here at this meeting. Once an RFP is established and put out there, it's hard to stop the train. It's hard to make those kinds of things and other things happen. And the last three speakers, I came to this meeting really not knowing where I stood on this, because I've been, I'm in favor of roundabouts in various areas, and I've been in them in various areas, both nationally and internationally, and there are things that work. However, listening tonight, I know that, you said that there's a lot of people in favor of it. What I've heard tonight is mostly people who have spoken against it. And I'd love to hear from those people, because again, I came here not knowing, but the last three speakers spoke very clearly to me to help me form my opinion. And I can't stress enough how important it would have been for RIDOT to be here. And if they think this is such an important project, why aren't they here? But having said that, I do want to say that I think that tonight's meeting is a clear indication of what a democracy is all about. That people are able to come to the leaders of the town, voice their concerns, both pro and con, to council members, and the council members are willing to listen. So I credit everyone for that, and I appreciate that opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. I know you spoke already. I just want to make sure others who haven't had an opportunity to speak yet.
Go out and have a
Sure, so I'll
dance.
try to reach the mic. Good evening, my name is Erin McCarty. I live on Depot Avenue in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. And I have a few different perspectives on this whole project that I'd like you to consider. I would like you to consider the 80-year-old gentleman who's lived in Portsmouth for a very long time, who goes to Clements Market and then goes to CVS once a week. When he does this traveling and he is now faced with a roundabout and he doesn't know where to turn, and he gets into an accident and kills a young child, how is that man going to feel for the rest of his life? I'd like to advocate for the people of the town and for their safety. As an emergency department nurse who has lived through roundabouts being installed in different spots in this state, I can tell you, I have consoled families in such similar situations. I can also tell you.
Point of order, ma'am, that is entirely unfair. That intersection is currently dangerous, and you want to lay upon us the fact that somebody may in fact injure somebody.
I don't recognize point of order.
I recognize, I got the mic.
That's not
unfair.
appropriate.
That's a fundamentally unfair statement. Fundamentally unfair.
Fundamentally unfair.
Mr. Councilmember Levesque's
A very true
point of
story.
order is taken. I would like you to continue, please.
I would also like you to consider that many other towns have used other methods to control the traffic that is out of control. I am not saying that this intersection is safe by any means. What I am saying is it needs to be reconsidered. Has anyone thought of the possibility of making a different exit to take a left-hand turn with a different light going around the bank to go south? I'm not an engineer. I take care of people. But I would like to have someone look at that plan before considering a dangerous roundabout and having people who have been using these roads for their entire lives and have founded this place that is so beautiful. Where on earth do you have the ability to go to a market like Clements, go to a beautiful church, take a walk on the ocean, and ride a horse all in one day and get an 8-hour shift? I don't know a lot of places that you can do so, but you can in this beautiful town. The other thing that I thought of was that when you think of roundabouts, do you ever think of the size of a vehicle that you need to get when an oil truck spins out of control on black ice to take that oil spill away and to take that damaged oil truck out of the roundabout? The vehicles that need to do emergency rescue cannot fit in the small space where you are proposing to put a roundabout. You need to consider the public safety aspect of this, as well as the impact to the local businesses. You offer that you would be standing by Tracy's side if she had an impact to her business. I know people in Warwick that lost their business. I know people that suffered when major construction happened. And I can tell you that the town council didn't pay their mortgage. The town council didn't pay all of their suppliers. So we need to consider every single step of this. We need to consider driver negligence. We need to consider driver safety. We need to consider education, appropriate signage. If you are going to go forward with this roundabout, it should be a lot of steps and not just DOT not showing up for us tonight.
You know, this has been 20 years. You know that this has been 20 years in the making since the first time, and actually, I believe that it was going back to Bobby Driscoll when I was on the town council, when the first time this concept was raised. So I don't know. And quite frankly, folks, would you, if you were part of DOT, come down here to have your reception? Do you think you would receive them well?
Business person, I would. And Mr. LeVay, I do understand that.
Levesque, it's a hard K.
I apologize, Mr. LeVay.
Thank you.
I understand that projects take decades, sometimes 3 decades to come to fruition. But I also understand public safety on a level more than most.
You heard about the accident 2 weeks ago at that very intersection.
I'm not saying the intersection is safe. I'm saying it.
But you're blaming us if the roundabout causes the problem.
I'm not blaming you.
You suggested it.
No, I did not, sir.
Not really.
She did.
Sir,
She
I did
really
not.
did.
I said that driver negligence, lack of signage, visibility, poor road conditions, those are all things that cause accidents in roundabouts.
This
and that's
is
what
being
the roads-
recorded. Why don't you take a look at what you said?
Can I just add?
If I may,
Mr. LeVay, you can have some manners, please.
Levesque. I haven't accused you of killing anybody.
if I may, I thank you very much for your comments. There's a line of other folks.
Mr. Castman, I just want to
Mr.
get,
Hamilton.
I just want to get one clarification. You mentioned going around a bay and putting another light in to take a left
Yes.
on a Moakley? Or-
So back on, if you go right around the bank and take a left near the Portsmouth store,
Yeah.
Reborn Street bypass.
No, you're talking about Moakley.
by Peoples.
Right, you're going,
In
talking about
Moakley.
going around a bank onto a Moakley where
I don't
Century
know
21
where
is,
it is.
Century 21, the Portsmouth shop,
Right.
and taking a left, being able to have another left out of there. Okay,
the one next to the fence.
okay, thank you. I just wanted clarification on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also the
That's
use
too
of
many lights.
smart lights and
Too many
cameras
lights.
can also change traffic patterns.
Thank you.
Gary Havron, 19 Karen Street. You know, I'm a big proponent of sidewalks and bike lanes, things like that. I like people to be able to move around. I like the idea of a town center. That all sounds really good. How does a roundabout work with pedestrians? Like, you know, you're not gonna have a traffic light, you're gonna have a free-flowing, constant flowing traffic. How do I cross from CVS over to Plymouth? Anybody have any kind of?
Yeah. Google it and look at good intersection designs. There's a couple of good examples in Connecticut. Typically, what they do is, you know, several dozens of feet before you even get to the intersection, there are pedestrian crossing lanes on all the different entryways into the.
We did have the engineering drawing up on the screen a little while ago, and I saw, it was nice. I saw the little lines that would be for crosswalks. But I still don't understand how does traffic yield to me as a pedestrian.
He has the answer.
Yeah. Is that?
I have the answer.
Go ahead, the same way it does at the bottom.
Maybe you explained it and I didn't get that.
Did you want? Narragansett Brewery has the answer. Come on, neighbor.
The answer to that one is that it's actually gonna be like she kind of explained, is that it would be probably a few hundred feet back. So just where like the Portsmouth shop is, that is exactly where the first crosswalk would be. So that way it's set up, it'd be behind Bank of Newport. It would be over by past the library, it would be like that crossing section. Because you're coming out of it, yeah, you're doing 30 miles an hour because that's what the speed limit is. And you have enough time to see a pedestrian hitting the button, the flashing lights, it's not gonna be right on it like it is now, it's going to be, so you have to, you know, walk 200 extra feet, but that is how a roundabout should work, retrospectively. And my only thing I was coming up here because I noticed you guys put this up here when I was talking. And it is slightly different than what I was given 3 weeks ago. I don't know how how new this is, but I just wanted to state that my plans that I was given and as in colored is slightly different.
Well, this might be newer or older.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
from 3 weeks ago, could be.
Mr. Levesque?
All right, I just want to make a quick response. But I had a childhood friend, thank you very much. I had a childhood friend who killed somebody coming around Turnpike onto East Main Road, who basically ran into somebody who was trying to cross to the supermarket. All right, it is a dangerous situation now. We believe this will make it much better. That's all we're saying. I'm saying.
Well, to his point, if they move the crosswalk or whatever you want to call it away from the intersection, away from the roundabout, that may solve it. But a roundabout with a continuous flow of traffic is not going to make it safer at the intersection than a traffic light.
To a different point. A different way.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Michael Ayer. I've lived on East Main Road since 1992, so I know exactly what the traffic is like. It was nice and quiet when I first moved there, and now it's quite busy. However, a roundabout at the bottom of the hill there, I don't feel is going to do anything. Most people around here don't drive through roundabouts. They don't know how it works. I go vacation over on the Vineyard. I go over the Bourne Bridge, and you see the traffic at that roundabout at the height of the summer. The traffic gets backed up for miles, because people get to the bottom of that. They see a rotary, and they're like, I don't know what to do. You know, I think if you want to mitigate a lot of the issues with traffic on East Main Road, the East Main Road needs to be redone. A roundabout is putting a lipstick on a pig. East Main Road needs to be redone, dug up and redone. Now, I'm not really in favor of that because I live on it, and that's going to make my life a hell. But really, that road is a shambles. The patch job the DOT did not that long ago is crap. Right. You know, that is absolute crap. We're doing something. You know, to depend on them to come down here and give us anything. I've called, I don't know how many times, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gene Valcenti in the morning. He has Peter Alvini on every Thursday. I've called up and I've talked to Mr. Alvini. That eyesore that we have, the old DOT garage, I'm like, tear that stupid thing down. Oh yeah, we'll do that a couple of years from now. Like, are you kidding me? That's the first thing people see when they come onto our island, is that looks like the Munster House.
It got taken down this week, actually.
Oh, they are?
Ironically.
Your lament is 1 week too late.
There's a pile of sticks now.
Yeah, oh, good, all right, but how long did it take him to do that?
I don't disagree. The patchwork was a request of ours to try and smooth some of it out until we got to this point.
The problem is, as I recall, East Main Road, underneath all of that is the old concrete blocks. And you know where all those heave points are?
At 27 feet.
Yes. Right. And what's going to happen? You resurface it. What's going to happen another 15 years from now? The same thing. It's going to heave again. You know, so a roundabout isn't an answer. East Main Road needs to be pretty much, redone. Think about that, whether or not it means widening it or something along those lines. Maybe that, listen, you want to take a couple feet out of my yard to make the roads a little wider? I'm more than happy with that. Less grass can be cut. So maybe a little wider. West Main Road, no one complains about people doing 45 there because the lanes are nice and wide. East Main Road is not. So a roundabout is not the answer. And again, like I've said, how many people here have used a roundabout regularly? Okay. What is that, a quarter of the people? Okay.
No, about 10.
All right, okay, not even then. That just makes my point even more. The fact that people don't know how to drive on them because they don't use them. In Europe and a lot of other places where they're common, that's fine. But around here, people are gonna get there like, what do we do? Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Regardless of how they feel about me, I know that the people in Portsmouth are quick learners and they'll figure it out.
But it's not just the people in Portsmouth, it's the tourists we have coming in and everywhere else.
Coming from Massachusetts, they're familiar with it.
No, they're not. There's two. There's two. They're not. Thank you for your time.
Get away, please.
Thank you.
That's
How's it going? Shane Murray, 132 Highland Ave. So I worked at Clements for 20 years and since before I could drive. And I've been going through that intersection for 20 years, so thousands of times. And I've never even come close to getting into an accident. But this rotary is way too small for it. My dad's worked in construction for the Amber for 30 years. I talked to him about this. He said, absolute disaster. A 2-lane rotary at this intersection would be the biggest crap show that you've ever seen. And you said you had trouble taking a left. I lived in Middletown for 2 years, took the left out of Clements at the busiest time, 5 o'clock, for 2 years straight, 5 days a week. And it's pretty simple to just take a left. I don't know, I just completely disagree with this. I lived in Tiverton before I lived in Portsmouth. When they put the Tiverton rotary in, there's a huge disaster, and that's a 1-lane rotary with not even remotely as close to much traffic as on this road. And people drive the wrong way around the rotary all the time. There's more accidents than that than there's been in 5 years in this intersection right now. And that's just a 1-lane rotary with not even half the amount of traffic. Also, someone said they did the study in 2020. That's the height of COVID when no one was driving. So. The traffic's way more than what that study said. So I don't know. I'm just against the rotary.
My name is Bill Hunt from 130 Landry Circle in Portsmouth. And just so everybody knows, I was on the town center committee back in 2003 or whatever, however long it lasted. And we did call in people to try to figure out how to calm the traffic down. It wasn't just an idea of people from Portsmouth. We had people from, actually we had somebody come in from Australia and someplace else, but I think we're looking at 2 different issues. We're looking at a safety issue and we're looking at an issue of the businesses and how it's going to affect them. And there are a lot of people that have a lot of emotions on this, and it's understandable, but I think I've lived here for 45 years and East Main Road has been horrible for 45 years. It wasn't something that just happened last week. And I think if we just repave it, we haven't solved any of the problems that East Main Road presents. And I think we should be open-minded to another solution. We talk about sidewalks. I've gone through more towns. We have less sidewalks in Portsmouth than just about any community in the state. And it's horrible. We're trying to get people to walk, we're trying to get people to ride bikes, and there's no place that's safe to do it. So I think we should be open-minded to different solutions for safety, and we have to try to accommodate the businesses as best we can. But this is the world we live in. When you have a project, it's going to disrupt families, it's going to disrupt traffic, and to some degree business. And I think that's what we have to work on. If we decide to go ahead with a roundabout, try to have as minimal disruption as possible. And I think there are things that they can do, night construction and so forth, or limiting the lanes they work on. But these are like the type of things we should discuss with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Dale Bradley, Viking Drive, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. I've been a resident here for over 50 years. And as was said earlier, they're gonna put this fresh asphalt coming down the hill and cars are gonna go a lot faster. Why doesn't the town look into cameras to issue tickets? Because they need them on East Main Road, they need them on West Main Road. I have almost been hit coming out of Boys Town 5, 6 times by people flying through the red light at 60 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. And something needs to be done. Cameras, you won't get the ticket, you won't get stopped, but you'll get it later in the mail. And after 3 or 4 of them, you're gonna lose your license. And that's what needs to be done to slow these people down on this island. If you're gonna have the speed limits go from 45 by Melville School down to 35, nobody controls it. The police can only do so much. I mean, they can't stop every car every time they speed, but a camera can take a picture quicker than they can stop a car. Thank you. John Butkevich, 119 Hammock Avenue, beautiful Portsmouth, Rhode Island. We are a very loyal community, Mr. Lebec. There's a lot of people that I've known here for many years, and I just want to say it this way. This town does not need any stinking roundabout. It doesn't. Unfortunately, we've all been,
What's that got to do with loyalty?
we've loyal. I'm loyal to the businesses, I'm loyal to the businesses in Portsmouth. I'm loyal to the traffic in Portsmouth. 12 years ago, 15 years ago, we were at Rhode Island, CCRI, 3 roundabouts, Town Hall, Food Works, Clements. I asked the engineers, what are we gonna do with the traffic on East Main Road while this project is going on? And the engineers said, oh, they're gonna go use West Main Road. What are we doing with the 40,000 cars already on West Main Road? So I see this being a traffic nightmare. I see the businesses in Portsmouth suffering. I see the residents in Portsmouth suffering. And I just don't believe that DOT can't come up with a better plan than that. And the other thing is, why hasn't the town seen the plan yet? Has anybody else seen the plan yet besides that?
No.
So when you're asking us to comment on something that we have no, I believe somebody tried to get a copy of the plan and they were denied. And then they were going to file an access.
We've had the plan. Administrator, do we have the plans at Town Hall?
No.
Yes.
No. No.
Excuse me. The 100% plans are in paper. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. The 100% plans have been turned over to the planning department. However, they are not allowed to be released. DOT has determined that until the RFPs have been released, we are not allowed to share or disseminate them. That's
Mr. Administrator, are these substantially, this roundabout, is it substantially different than the one from 2020, 1900 or whatever? I mean, the roundabout is a roundabout. Is it substantially different?
They're all different.
no, I mean, I can't speak to 2003 to 2015.
Have you seen some plans of a roundabout for this road?
Yes, I've seen plans.
They were at the
roundabout
town hall, were they not?
And I saw the plans as they're in 100% stage.
A clarification, Mr. Administrator, I'm not trying to dance with you.
The plan
Have you behind you, sir? Plans for the roundabout there?
Yes, it's right behind you.
It's there. The plans that were at, what was at Town Hall forever, laying in the vestibule, was an artist's rendering. It wasn't engineered plans, completely different situation.
It's conceptual.
Correct, but conceptual and actual are completely different things.
And so all the engineers here are gonna look at the actual plans and make distinctions and determinations from that?
They might.
Is that you, Mr. Hamilton? Is that your position as an engineer?
I am not an engineer, so I wouldn't do
thought
that.
you were.
No.
Okay.
My business card says technical sales.
The
engineer,
idea
but
has
I'm
been
not.
out there forever, folks.
That doesn't make it a good idea, Mr. Lebec. The Department of Transportation gets 80% of its funding from the Federal Highway Administration on all the roads in Rhode Island, okay? And I learned that last year. Mr. Alviti happens to be a previous Laborers International Union of North America. He wants this project, okay? He wants
He's a road builder, yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with the path
This
affiliation.
project should be, make the right-hand turn going up East Main Road wider, make the left-hand turn going Turnpike, change the lights.
Mr. Baker,
I'm speaking to some of that.
you don't have to have discouragement by telling me clearly not here. All right?
There are so many more opportunities at that intersection to reduce the amount of time it's going to take to do this construction, to minimize the business loss, and to get it done and make it safer. And again, slow people down. Thank you. Thank you.
Could we ask that she not be interrupted and that she be allowed to complete her sentences, please?
It's my intention to try my best to allow all speakers at the podium to have that opportunity, please.
Siobhan Thurston, 664 Union Street in Portsmouth. I come down East Main Road all the time. It is unsafe. I have had the benefit of living in a few countries in this world, and we do have roundabouts. I would say that the roundabouts have worked for the most part, but now they're changing, and I can only speak to Ireland, who is changing them into lights for safety. Because there's drink involved. So I would want to say safety of an 18-wheeler coming down the East Main Road is going to impact a roundabout, and you have two going in to turn is not safe. I think we should recalibrate those lights. Councilman Ryan said that he couldn't turn left from the Clements. I agree, it's kind of sketchy. So why don't you stop everybody and let one go? Red lights, no right on red, stop and let everybody. I think calibration has not been used efficiently or attempted. Putting in this roundabout has egregious negative consequences for the businesses, for the people of Portsmouth. I hear what you're saying, Mr. Levesque. I'm not sure you're hearing your constituents.
Thank you. Philip Driscoll, 169 Oakley Drive, Portsmouth, Rhode Island, in 1975. Pardon?
Speak more into the microphone.
1975, at the Portsmouth Middle School, the Rhode Island Department of Transportation made a presentation about the widening of East Main Road. It was a very well done presentation, pictures, graphs, easels, of what we were going to do. They told us that work was going to begin in about 2 years. Kind of ditto for the town center, a very, very nice presentation. A man named Mr. Smith from RIDOT spoke. Community members put an awful lot of time into that work, okay? Then we had tolls on the Secana River Bridge. And the Rhode Island Department of Transportation rammed that one through the legislature in the middle of the night. Eventually, we protested, very similar to what we have here. And they put on a very, very nice presentation at the Bay Point. The Turnpike and Bridge Authority was the agency, if you will, for the Rhode Island Department of Transportation. Excellent communication, ultimately, after we protested. There was somewhat of a humorous note. We had 3 state police officers there, okay? We never see them. They've closed the state police barracks. You have to wonder somewhat about safety. I don't know. We haven't seen any real drawings, the public. We haven't had a presentation by RIDOT, okay? Something that we have had in the past, okay? Certainly, it is not burdensome for them to do what they have done in the past to communicate with us. I will have to tell you, though, that they have been very, very high-handed. They are going to make the Portsmouth Water and Fire District, that's you, okay, pay for the relocation of the water lines. A piece of legislation they rammed through and never told anybody about, in spite of the fact that they're going to get federal money for this project. The Water District is trying to fight that. But RIDOT has been hiding throughout this whole thing. I have to laugh. I got a piece of correspondence that if you don't do this, we're going to take away this, that, and the other thing, okay? I said, you know, if you don't like my sandbox, I'm gonna pick up my toys and I'm gonna go, okay? We need sidewalks. It's as simple as that. But we need a state agency that is open, that speaks to people, okay, and doesn't hide. RIDOT has done this in the past. Why are they failing to do it now? Why are they hiding the drawings? Why isn't there a collaborative communication from the Rhode Island Department of Transportation? Thank you very much.
Yes, Sean Sandy, 63 Church Lane, here in Portsmouth. Mr. Levesque, you keep saying that the roundabouts are safe. I want to let you know that the roundabout down on Connell Highway in Newport, right where I was coming out of Sullivan Tire.
I'm familiar with it.
I went into the roundabout, had right away, and I was literally cut off by a school bus full of kids. I had to slam on my brakes. I was doing 15, 20 tops. Had to slam on my brakes, had the horn going. Bus driver did not care whatsoever. And to prove it, I have it on the dash cam.
Paul Kesson, 3241 East Main Road. I would like to thank you for holding this meeting. I think we took money from DOT for this study and the town center project when Peter McIntyre was on the council, along with Mr. Hamilton, I think, at the time. And we had a drain, and I've seen pictures of the drain. I've seen the plans for the town center project. The trees you couldn't afford to buy today, the size that they're there. With the center island down, with 2 lanes missing in the center island, you know, hogging the 2 high-speed lanes. That would definitely slow traffic down. You would not ever get 30,000 cars through the center of Portsmouth with that design. There was no formal design. This design, as I see 30,000 cars go around that roundabout, and where they have the chicken scratches, which looks to me from where I'm sitting, look like the crosswalks within the properties that already exist that's there. And 30,000 cars not stopping from 3:30 in the afternoon to about 6 o'clock. We already have the crosswalk across from where Ray's Shell used to be in the Ferrera Barber Shop. I don't know if it's still there.
No.
We run people over at that crosswalk.
Yeah, right.
That's over 1,000 feet. And we have stoplights to help slow the traffic down. This is a disaster. I want to ask one question. We've heard tonight from other people, my cousin Phil Driscoll back here, that there's federal funds involved in this. Do we know that?
Yes.
So are the federal funds the requirement? Because when my family got here on the island and we married into the Thurstons from Union Street, it was a trolley route. Okay, that's how old this road is. I worked with Johnny Olivero when we had the wrecking service for the Portsmouth Police Department. This road measures 31 feet wide in some areas, 39 in others. The federal standard doesn't typically allow federal money to be spent on roads that don't meet the federal standard of a 12-foot lane. I don't want a 12-foot lane running through the center of my town. So is the federal money coming because of the hill, the water that comes down the hill, the water that's not treated that has asbestos, transmission oil, engine oil, rubber tires, still being discharged into the river? And that's why they need to clean their act up and take other people's property at this intersection? If we're doing that, we're doing the wrong thing for the people in the town of Portsmouth. The east side of the property, if I can remember, when Chuck Levesque's mother, I think, and father, Charles and Anna, took us to where the fire station is now, and we used to have a soapbox derby down Quaker Hill.
I remember.
Okay. And I think it was 1957. I'm not even sure you were around.
You're not that much older.
But I'm not sure Mr. Levesque was. He might, are you You born in 55?
54.
Yeah, so,
I remember when it was on Park Ave.
okay, so it was on Park Ave, it moved to Quaker Hill, and we had a speed, and we also had a distance. And we actually drove all the way to the town center, which was at Bernie's Dry Goods. Okay, that was a better town than we have today with 30,000 cars on this road. Sometimes no is a good answer, and tonight is one of them. Because if we're gonna involve federal money, and we've heard testimony that once it starts, they can't stop it. No is a good answer. If RIDOT has to fix the contaminated water that's still getting into the bay and falling behind Burke's Bakery, okay, on the west side of East Main Road, and let them fix it because it's contaminating Bloody Brook on their own and not take and negatively impact the whole town and take people's property. It was a mistake to take their money. We also did the same thing, and we're all suffering from that one, the cesspool replacement. But that's the way it is, and it's the right thing to do. This is not the right thing to do. If they have to, if they actually have to buy more electronics than's in my phone to stop all the traffic on West Main Road so that the intersection becomes safe, and 2 lanes out of Clements, 2 lanes from the new town center, and 2 lanes from Bristol Ferry Road, then let's go do that. That's not a lot of digging. It's gonna be a lot of night work cutting in centers in the road again, but it's not gonna disrupt Portsmouth traffic and 30,000 people and put them at risk when we put them on top of the 40 on West Main Road. This is a bad decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? Go ahead.
Since my name was invoked earlier, yes, there was $15 million given in 2010-11 in order to study and hopefully get the town center built. Nothing ever happened with it, so that money went back to the RIDOT. It doesn't exist anymore. This project certainly will be done with federal funds. The reason it's being pushed forward now is because of the Federal Infrastructure Act back in 2021. That's what gave the extra money to start fast tracking some of these projects. So yes, it would certainly have federal money in it, which is your money.
Karen Gleason, 63 Mathis Way. I'm impressed with the intelligence and knowledge out in the audience. A lot of common sense, a lot of ideas, which is great. I wondered if someone is here from the fire department can talk about having a fire truck, a ladder, ambulances, etc., coming down Quaker Hill.
I don't believe so. We have police chief, but we do not have a
fire chief's online.
I'll just make one comment about the Newport Rotary roundabout. Extremely concerned about having crosswalks. I know in the cities you have to have crosswalks, but we still are in a town. And I'm not against some crosswalks, but as Mr. Keston said, the one near the Portsmouth shop is extremely dangerous. I have to remind myself that it exists. Now, I'm a native here and always been back and forth to Newport. Newport, I know gonna have to watch for crosswalks. It's just a natural thing. In town, we're just not crosswalk people. It's not a bad thing, it's not a negative, but it is what it is. So yes, we do have to watch out. And I know there's a reason why that crosswalk is put there, but I myself would never cross East or West Main Road unless I really, really was in a jam and I had to. And I also will not ride a bike on the road. To me, they're considered almost like a highway.
Connell Highway, roundabout rotary. I do carefully go on there. I have to get to a certain place down in Newport. Coming around the rotary, to me, I'm constantly looking to make sure that the other person doesn't enter when I'm already entered, and that they're gonna see me or not hit me. But as I'm coming around the corner, all of a sudden, I look forward to go getting out of the rotary, and there's 4 people in the crosswalk. And I was petrified because I'm watching as I'm going around, and when I come to get out, bang, there's a crosswalk with people in it and crossing without even paying attention to me because it's a crosswalk. They're supposed to have the right of way. Extremely dangerous. I just want to make that point. Thank you.
Mr. President, just real quick, we reached out to the fire chief, and he said as long as it's constructed properly, there shouldn't be any issues with it for.
Fire chief. Yes.
Yes. He just answered the question and said as long as it's constructed properly, there will be no concerns. That means if it's built the way it's supposed to be built, there would be no concerns. I don't know how to explain it anymore. He doesn't have any concerns.
Mr. President.
Go ahead. So I'm gonna just say, because I asked the question.
Well, we can't really have conversations other than on the microphones.
The fire chief said it wasn't a problem.
I know that, Chuck, but come on. 3 of us are in the rotary, and all of a sudden we're hearing all the fire trucks coming down the hill. Do you think that anybody's gonna panic or not?
Are you with the deputy fire chief now?
No, I'm asking the question, but unfortunately he's not here.
I think he knows the difficulty.
He said.
That's why we fired him.
That's an easy answer. If it's constructed properly, do you know, you don't even have the plans, you don't know if the RFP says. If it's constructed properly, that's the best answer that he can give. But
That's
so,
true about everything.
I'm in the rotary and 3 other cars are behind me and he's coming down the hill. Mr. Levesque, please have some respect for people. I'm sorry I'm asking such a foolish question for you.
No, but you had your answer. You asked, is the fire chief available? And he said, if it's constructed properly, you weren't satisfied with that.
Are you all satisfied with that answer?
No, I can't sign on. I don't know why, but.
Yeah,
Constructed properly, I mean by the right size.
Wait.
Hold on, chief.
Let's put a mic on that if we can.
We're attempting to, he can't get online, so.
It's coming out from here. Do you want me to put the microphone on?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Chief Ford.
So when I said constructed properly, I mean of the proper size for our apparatus to be able to make the radius. We have to have the proper radius, just like we do on any construction project. As far as whether I want the roundabout or not, going down the hill now and going into the light red and a lot of traffic, we have the same concerns at every intersection. Are people going to do the right thing? Are they going to pull over and stop? Are they going to turn left in front of us? Do we try to sneak down the side that's the lane that's open and then someone turns to the right? So whether it's a roundabout or a regular traffic light, we always have to be mentally prepared for those drivers that maybe don't see us, don't hear us, or panic. So I personally have no qualms whether we leave it the way it is as far as fire department response or we have a roundabout. Okay.
Thank you.
I did find a simulation, so to speak, on a YouTube video. It's not an emergency vehicle, but it is an 18-wheeler truck as to how an 18-wheeler truck would maneuver through a roundabout. Is anybody interested in seeing it or no?
I would say no. I said nobody wants.
Yes,
the question was raised earlier.
I'd love to see it on my free time, so send it my way.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you, sir. You were waiting to speak.
Armin Goodwin, Rhode Island Boulevard.
I'm sorry, if you could speak right into that mic. Thank you.
Armin Goodwin, Rhode Island Boulevard. If I'm reading that drawing correctly, it shows a lot of traffic islands in the middle of that roundabout. First of all, those are the biggest obstructions you can possibly have. The width's not even anywhere close to what it should be for the traffic volume. And East Main Road, if anyone's very familiar with it, already has a paved asphalt walkway that's about 2 feet wide going all the way up to Town Hall. The fact that the DOT has not replaced any of the curbing for the past 50 years on this road, because I've been a resident, I've been around town for quite a long time. They have not maintained that road at all. They've constantly done just little bits of patchwork to pacify the residents. Their patching after the winter, after a nice freeze and thaw cycle, has been pathetic at best. And they maintain that road so poorly. How can you trust them to do a decent job on this roundabout? Which is not necessary. It's modifying the light, and which they also did not take the extra light down when they did the road diet for the northern part of East Main Road, which probably confuses a lot of people because you have 2 greens and 1 red when you head into the intersection. So that's my thought.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else, Mr. Gasman, that would like to speak?
Yeah, before you speak again, just want to make sure all those who want to speak have an opportunity. Go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you very much. It's too bad that I didn't get to talk to the fire chief, but currently in Portsmouth, I'm pretty sure it's almost every light. Maybe the chief of police behind me can verify that actually the fire apparatus and the police control the lighting as they approach it. They actually can turn the lights red and turn them green in the lane they're in. True.
It's not every traffic light in town, but there are a portion of traffic lights. It's an opticon system. It's hooked up to the emergency lighting. So the direction that the police vehicles are coming in, with the sensor on the lights will notice that the police are coming, and it turns the lights in the direction that the emergency vehicles are coming in green, and the other direction stay red.
Thank you.
So again, as they approach the current light at Clements, everybody coming north is stopped because they need to use the southbound lane. That's not in this design. There's no control over it. No is a good answer.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler.
Once you do the RFP, any changes or modifications are deemed as change orders, which increase the price of the construction project also. So any changes you want, you need to have done before they submit the bids.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Leonard.
I'm moving to close the public hearing. And you want to talk?
One quick point, I think it's only fair. We've heard from our chief of the fire department, and I think it would be appropriate if our police chief would address what currently.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you could state your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin Fennessy, 2788, 2774 East Main Road, Portsmouth. Because we're talking about something that could potentially seriously affect the travel of automobiles in that particular section of town, I would like to hear if he is willing to, from the chief, to see what his take is on a roundabout and how
if he sees that it would help to improve the safety of our town.
So Vice President, members of the council. So I'd say I wouldn't be doing my job as police chief if I didn't have concerns of a roundabout. But my concerns are if it's going to work, if there's going to be buildup of traffic. Will this work, and what they say, will it happen or not? I also know that working with the DOT over the years, the DOT has been very responsive to the police department. Anything and any issues and questions that we brought up in the past, the DOT is responsive and does what it can to meet needs and change when they put in something if the police department brings it to their attention. As far as the police department's position on a roundabout, the police department will remain impartial on that. I think it's our role is to enforce whatever decision and what comes of this. And if the council goes in one direction or the other, our role as a police department is to remain impartial, and we'll enforce whatever role or whatever it is, and we will adjust, adapt, and overcome to whatever situation occurs. And I don't believe it's the police department's role to take it one side or another.
Thank you, Chief.
Again, I've said this every time when someone who's spoken once already.
I apologize.
Just to make
That's all right.
sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's fine. I like to ask. Go
I
ahead.
have one simple question. I'm new to the town, so I would like to know.
You got to do it into the microphone and state your name again.
Town,
Identify
Erin Marie
yourself.
McCarty,
Thank you.
22 Depot Avenue.
Thank you.
I would like to know how I can work with the town council to collaborate on this project. Excellent.
This is.
So this is,
This is the only collaboration,
Well,
or will there be
right.
future opportunities?
there may be further opportunities, but we don't know what those will be because we don't know the pace and structure of how the DOT is going to proceed forward on this. They've asked us to, if your name is, wait, one moment, Mr. Beck. They have asked us to weigh in whether we support it or not. And that's essentially what's before us tonight. We are always interested in, back 20 years ago, I hate to go down memory lane again, we had, as folks spoke to, a town center committee that had lots of meetings, and there were lots of so-called stakeholders and opportunity for input. That's not the situation we're facing tonight. And I, like many folks here, I'm sure, feel put upon that the DOT has basically said at this late date, okay, we're going to start, but tell us if you want it or not, and if you don't want it, we're not going to. It's like all this. So I think this is not a good ask on part of DOT, but here we are. So that.
Man, we'll do anything in our power. I will bring forward a motion myself to set up an oversight group and put it out to the public so they have an opportunity to work with the DOT on trying to address all of the concerns here. But if we vote against it tonight, it's gone. Yes. And you will all be happy about that. I've been here 70 years, and quite frankly, when, you know, forget it.
Mr. Vice President?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know how the town is notified of possible collaboration in this and any other projects going forward as a new member.
We have a lot of commissions.
Yeah, so what I would suggest you do is to, all of our email addresses are on our town website, including the general one that just says town council that goes to all of us. Reach out to, all of us welcome being contacted at any time.
Committees.
And we find out, I'd love to have a conversation with you about what your interests are beyond just this one issue. And we have lots of committees that need people. We have lots of opportunities for people who would like to help our community. So it's a conversation I'd love to have.
Thank you.
And one ending comment is that the other day there was a fire on the Bragg Bridge and it pretty much paralyzed traffic everywhere. If there's a fire in that roundabout, there's going to be some runoff that will affect the ecosystem, but it will paralyze part of the island. It could cause a potential safety issue if it was during an evacuation period and a huge storm. So consider the size of this when you consider your vote.
There was also a car accident on Mount Hope Bridge.
I was rear-ended on Mount Hope Bridge in a parked position on camera, so I know about the accidents on the bridge.
But ma'am, if I could just say,
Yes.
your concern is hypothetical, right? If there was a fire in the roundabout, but statistically, accidents are more likely to occur at intersections. Those are national and international statistics. So the presence of a roundabout does not make a fire more likely. True, if there was a fire anywhere in that intersection, no matter how it was configured, it would paralyze the east side of Portsmouth for sure. But I don't think that's really the question we're hearing or we're really discussing here.
It was more a thought on the size of the roundabout and another supporting factor.
Right, but it's, again, if we're going to talk about this, we should probably confine ourselves to the choice before us and what is actually known about it.
Well, if this is the current plan, then the answer is no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Ben Briggs, 2211 East Main Road. I've been on this roundabout saga since 2003. And I'll tell you right now, I do not trust the state to do what they're going to say they're going to do. Roundabout, Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Levesque, if you were involved in, they wanted to put a roundabout at the town hall. What a lot of people didn't know is they wanted to take 40 feet out of my front yard. They didn't tell anybody that. I had to do all my due diligence to find this out. How are you going to compensate me for that? Oh, we're not going to compensate you. That was the direct quote from the DOT person that showed up in this auditorium that night. Why, I guess I have to wonder, why isn't the state being more transparent about this? Is because they're trying to ram something down our throat. Now, if they put in their fantastic roundabout, it's going to solve every problem. This is going to be utopia. What if it doesn't work? What if it causes more problems than what we already have? Are they going to take it out? No, we live with it. They don't live down here. They don't have to put up with this. Now, I think the money would be better spent trying to look at the traffic situations like other people have suggested. It's a much wiser spent time and money to erase a few lines, reconfigure a few things, rather than to go with this debacle.
Thank you.
I guess, as far as turning out of Clements, and police chief here, I don't know, I'm not the traffic expert, but I was taught when I learned how to drive that any car coming onto a main road had to yield to the traffic already on the road. That's not the case down there. It's a free-for-all. And I guess my problem is if we just educate more people on how to drive and stay off this thing and pay attention to traffic rather than finding out how Johnny's getting to his soccer game. Now, as far as common traffic, I don't know if anybody's here that can disagree that the extension of the 2 lanes with the center turn lane through the Portsmouth Center, Turnpike and Bristol Ferry. How's the traffic problem there? How's the speeding problem there? Has it calmed it down? I think so. Now, if they want to repave this road and you want to stop the speeding that goes on East Main Road, why don't we do the same thing from the bottom of Clements all the way to the state line or town line at Middletown?
That was actually looked at. The DOT did a traffic study of East Main Road with that very solution in mind. And unfortunately, during commuting hours, the volume of traffic coming north on East Main Road would not be able to be accommodated by 2 lanes with a turning lane in the middle.
I guess they should leave 10 minutes early. This is the problem. This is the root cause of all of this.
Can I tell you something, sir? I was involved both in the East Main Road, north of Bank Newport project and the Turnpike Avenue. Managed actually, I like to say, convinced the DOT that those were worthwhile projects. My biggest fight was actually from a dear friend of mine, Vern Gordon, who was furious that he was going to be behind some yo-yo on East Main Road going 25 miles an hour for the whole trip. But it did. And by the way, there were many of the same complaints that we have heard tonight.
All I can say is, like I just said, I'll reiterate it. Leave 5 or 10 minutes early. Thank you.
Sorry to be late to the podium, Ross Landy, 2 Brant Road.
You're not late, you're right on time.
And I couldn't hear your name, sir.
Ross Landy.
From?
Ross Landy. Landy, Ross Landy.
And you normally give your address.
Landy.
2 Brant.
I was unaware the town council's gonna vote on this tonight. You're gonna vote whether or not to approve it or not approve it.
Whether
How many meetings?
Whether the town supports it or
How
not.
many meetings have there been on this particular design for the town that have come across committee?
Yeah.
Not since 2003.
No, I get it.
2000.
No, we've had a few, I think 3. Bearing in mind that those meetings, that the actual final, as they refer to 100%
Have they all
plans.
turned out like tonight? We
We
have
have not
99% of the people are against it. So,
No, we've had almost no turnout at the meetings.
okay. So if we're a democracy, everyone here tonight, majority, seems to be against this. So I hope the town council see what the residents are asking for is to deny it, so.
We're a representative democracy. Mr. President, could you close the?
It's
not a
hearing. It's not a hearing.
Back, it's not a public hearing.
It's not a public hearing, and
It's just a discussion.
So we're just gonna have, by the way, everybody, we still have, saving the transfer station to do.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
We certainly can.
Great. My name is Cynthia Burke. I live at 1360 East Main Road. I just want to say a few things about the roundabouts. I too used to call them rotaries. I actually grew up in Warwick, and right now there are 4 rotaries in the Apponaug section. I'm very familiar with them because myself and a lot of family and friends that still live in Warwick do everything we possibly can to avoid them. It's a free-for-all when you're in the middle of it. Unfortunately, a lot of the businesses are being impacted because we all know the back roads and we'll take the back roads just to avoid the 4 rotaries. It's like being a hamster in 4 cages that connect. Just not good. The other thing I want to share with you is that I kind of did a little bit of study on my own, and I will tell you about the Apponaug roundabouts. In the first 4 months of 2017, the police reported 42 collisions at the 4 roundabouts. In the same time period, in 2013, there were 20 crashes reported. The roundabouts were slowing things down. There were more accidents, but they weren't as severe. That should make us all feel better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Did you want to speak?
Ms. Pedro, 15 Wall Street. I travel this intersection probably every single day. I travel East Main Road every single day. And it looks curiously quite similar to the rotary at in Newport, which I also travel. I think when the fire chief spoke, he said that if it were built appropriately, it wouldn't be a problem for the fire trucks. And I think what appropriately means is that this thing has to be huge. It has to be huge. And I'm looking at it, you're voting on something that you don't even know what it's gonna be. And this, like, we don't even know what this is gonna be. This is the first time we've seen this. I see a huge median down the middle of East Main Road. I can't even get the scale of this thing. You're gonna have to take property. They're gonna have to take property. It's gotta be huge. It's just those sidewalks where supposedly people are going to be crossing. There's no way that people are gonna cross there. It's not safe. People are gonna be coming down East Main Road. I can see this intersection in my head. I just like travel this so much. The point is to slow down traffic, but to continue the flow. Well, what's gonna happen, as many people have said, is that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a constant flow of traffic. No one's ever gonna be able to get across there. And I really don't have a big problem getting through that intersection now. I don't. It's just like the gentleman said, you come out of Clements, you take a left-hand turn. I know how to take a left-hand turn, you know.
You don't.
You know, I don't understand why the council is not it's supporting us and going back to DOT and asking these questions.
I can help you understand that by saying, if I may, Ms. Mayor, you asked why the council is not supporting something. We haven't had a discussion among ourselves yet and voted.
I understand.
We may very well.
I understand that.
So
I understand
please don't
that.
presume that we're not supporting people with a variety of opinions.
If I may speak, the members that have spoke seem like they're already going to vote for this. It just seems that way, and maybe it's me. But anyway, I would rather see the council, let's frame this differently. I would rather, and I think a lot of the people here would rather see the council go back to DOT and sort of fight for us. Instead of just saying, well, you know, we have to work with them and, you know, we want to leave the door open for this thing. No, this thing is not right for us. It's just not. It's not right for us. And you know, it's too bad that the people cannot see this on a piece of paper. Like, I'd love to see this on a piece of paper and measure it out and really conceptually be able to see this. Thank you.
My question kind of goes with what was just said. I just lost my train of thought. We talk about traffic calming and everyone's talking about how the speed of East Main Road is, you know, cars drive so fast. This is one intersection. When they told us at the town hall meeting in May, when they introduced this to us and said it was going to happen 11 months down the road, they said, well, it's traffic calming, it's going to calm it down the hill. When they came and met with me and showed me how much property they were taking from me, which was going to create a nightmare in my head. That's why I needed Neil to come look at the plans, which they won't give us. I'm so worried about water. You know, they're taking away a retention pond. I asked them when they laid those plans out, I said, please show me where, you're saying this is traffic calming, show me where it's going to slow down. Oh, well, right about here, between Immokalee and People's Credit Union. It slows down there when the light's red too. So, I mean, it's one section of East Main Road. It's not traffic calming. It might slow it down there, but I mean, it slows down when the lights are red. Change the triggers on the lights.
Erin Murray McCarty, 22 Depot Avenue. When you purchase a home and you decide that you want to renovate a section of your home, you have to know the measurements in order to do so. You don't even have the appropriate measurements for this to know how much you're going to take from the town and what it's going to be able to accommodate. How can RIDA actually force a town to make a vote without having the appropriate information in their hand? Exactly.
Any other members of the public here who want to make a comment? I'm gonna talk to her when we get home because she's my wife and.
I'm Julie Redlick, his wife.
My love of my life. Go ahead.
Sorry, how many years did you say?
40.
Yeah.
Pull the microphone down.
Yeah, pull the microphone down a little. That's it.
I had to come back up and speak because I am outraged that this group of intelligent individuals is being asked to make decisions with their with eyes closed. And that this is money that we have paid to the state of Rhode Island and our federal government that has gone into this, we're paying this. And I really am incensed that the state of Rhode Island and the federal government, how they can choose to make these decisions, and that why we aren't insisting that the federal and state money be used to fix the whole problem, the real problem, not just the nail head.
Thank you.
The problem is, and I've dealt with DOT any number of times, they have a laundry list, just like the town does, of projects, of multi-million-dollar projects, like the Henderson Bridge, all over the state. And here's what happens when they get flack from somebody. They say, fine, we'll go someplace where they want our help. Okay, and that's fine. If you want to make that decision, that's fine, but that's enough. Now, let me just tell you something. This would not be my idea. I'd like to have a railroad, a rail from here to Boston, okay? And that would be my plan, all right? I'm not happy about this plan, but if everybody wants to just go stand on this plan and I see it happen, fine, but live with the consequences. We're gonna have the wishbone there forever.
Well, it's a matter of also things like, are there when I used to commute over the Newport Bridge, and when they restructured everything there was a whole plan in place, and they restructured the way you got onto the bridge and off the bridge. That's having grown up in Newport for a million years. And that was a well thought out, it took many years well thought out.
They're still doing it.
I know they are, and it took a lot of money, but I'm saying that it makes more sense. It makes less sense to just bow and get hit in the behind.
They're just saying bye to us. That's fine. They're just gonna say bye to us.
They can just, I think that it's even a matter of whether we can, as citizens, object to them wasting our money.
They're not wasting.
Ms. Abbott.
Yeah.
Just a couple comments in response to a few of the speakers that we heard. The traffic safety study that was done on East Main Road, I think several of the members of the audience might be interested in reading it and seeing what it included. I think we all acknowledge that this is just one intersection and one piece of the overall problem. There was pages and pages of recommendations for how to improve East Main Road and calm traffic and slow traffic for the entire extent of it, and how to improve various intersections, because we have many that are problematic and unsafe. Also, I think there's several of us up here that support the idea of roundabouts in concept, but we haven't discussed and we haven't voted, and I don't think we really are a crowd that just bows and takes what they're gonna give us. And we haven't voted. So, we are a town council, we can make requests and ask things from RIDOT and try our best to work collaboratively with them. I said this before, we could sit here all night and complain about RIDOT and say about the things that we don't like that we did. The end of the day, we live in Rhode Island, and unfortunately we have to work with them, and they own the road. So we don't have an option. Our only option is to work with RIDOT, and we have to find the best ways to do that and try to do it in a way that works to our advantage. We don't have to bend to the will and accept whatever it is they're sending our way. I think we have the right to provide commentary and comments and to request workshops. And I think that is the intention of several of us up here, is to do that and engage in that process. I think we all have concerns that these weren't shared with us prior, that we didn't have an opportunity to provide feedback. If you look at the process for the bridge realignment in Newport, I think they had almost 2 years of stakeholder engagement and public workshops to get to the plan that they're building now. So I think there's a lot of issues with the process and how things worked. I think our intention is to just not shut it down and stomp our feet and say, we're going away and we don't want to talk to you. Let's find, let's gather our comments, put together thoughtful, meaningful responses, and try to work with RIDOT to improve the plan so that it actually reflects what the town of Portsmouth as a whole would like to see.
Thank you. Great, very, I like that.
There's a reason why Newport went through.
Sorry, Carol Petrie, 153 Fisher Circle. I've learned a lot about the democratic process tonight with working with the town, but I have another point of information that I'd like to seek for us. What is the procedure now? Do you vote tonight, yes or no? And yes means we're going forward?
So, well, I can't speak for my council. I can only speak for myself. The letter has asked us to weigh in if we support it. But the specific motion that ends up getting made and how we say we support or don't support something, it is to be debated and discussed. It's probably not just going to be I move yes. It's probably not going to be that. It's going to be something much more crafted.
It's up to us here. And if you haven't been to a town council meeting before, often one of us will make a motion and we will discuss it and edit it and revise it as needed until we're in agreement and ready to vote on it. And that motion can include any number of requests. And that will be put into a response to RIDOT that is responding to the letter that we got from them. On the same topic, I know there was a question about how do you know or how do you engage with us? If we, for example, request public workshops, it would be announced, it would be published on the town website. There would be, an agenda or a notice. I'm sure it would be in the Portsmouth Times. And so, just keep an eye out and it will be out there. We never try to do things in secret.
But everybody would still be.
So the vote is tonight.
And I know people laugh about that, but we really don't ever try to do anything in secret.
Yeah, and so the vote's tonight and we don't hear your discussion and then you'll vote with the constituency here.
Yes, we go right here.
That's right. Ma'am.
Super briefly, Sarah Zlatizek again from the Portsmouth Shop. I am executing an estate, and part of that estate is on Connell Highway in Newport. I will tell you that there has been no RIDOT engagement of stakeholders. There are 2 current stakeholders who have just had part of their parking lot taken by eminent domain with no compensation. The parking lot of the building that I manage, there had previously been 3 curb cuts. Yesterday, RIDOT laid curb without cuts so that then they had to subsequently remove the curbing. They did not follow any plan. I appreciate that everyone is saying that RIDOT is collaborative. I have heard Peter Alviti on the radio talk about our residents as belly aching and being up in arms. That does not sound like a body that wants to collaborate with a small community that cares about its place.
Please.
I don't disagree with you. I know RIDOT doesn't really go out of their way to work with us and collaborate with us. In Newport, I don't know how they reached out to stakeholders. It sounds like they didn't. I think my microphone just died. Yeah. That said, in Newport, they did have several public meetings about the realignment, not necessarily the stakeholders living there, but there were opportunities for the public to engage. There was a whole commission, whatever they called it, put together for the realignment to discuss it and have, have events like this where members of the public were allowed to voice their concerns and provide their feedback. And I think that's the piece that's missing. Whether RIDOT does it with us or not, we can do it and compile our comments and our concerns and our feedback and provide that in response to RIDOT. So there are ways that us as a town and as a council can initiate and be proactive about the engagement.
You turned off my mic. Thank you.
Peter Roberts, 80 Arnold Avenue. I want to come back up and point something out one more time. It's about the traffic light. When the lane is filled going all the way up to town council and the light turns green for them, they go. While you're waiting, it's one cycle, then it turns green for you. You do not have to wait more than one turn on each way. Everything that's going on here is going to make it so the longest lane will not be controlled. Are you understanding this? There's nothing to stop them. You stop them with a red light.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. It looks like I don't see a line of folks.
We wore you down.
We've heard a lot of input. Is that what you?
I guess I have a couple.
See, even your compatriots are getting a little tired. Please go ahead.
8 Colonel Christopher Green Road.
I'm sorry, I was talking. I think I talked over you saying your name.
John Short. Can't you tell?
Thank you.
8 Colonel Christopher Green Road. And I guess when I look at, I've listened, I wasn't planning on saying a word, but there are a lot of risk issues that I haven't seen addressed. And risk issues are like, how are you going to get out of Clements when you don't have a traffic light, you don't stop? And I've seen the roundabouts back up, do a lot of work with the War College, the Navy and things like that. And you can sit there for 15, 20 minutes in the morning and there's just a backup for a mile on getting through that roundabout. So I think that there's a lot of risk issues. And I think a lot of these issues have to be addressed from a risk reward point of view. And
can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Were you coming out of the base in the old days when they just had, they didn't, that traffic backed out over the bridge.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you are, so I've been here in the old days.
And you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, but so all I'm saying though, is I think that there are a whole bunch of things you can look at that are risk issues that really need to be addressed for the shop owners, as well as the Portsmouth residents that use that thing. And it's really a risk reward point of view. And I think you have to look at the risk in it. Sure looks like we don't have a very good handle on how to answer some of the risk questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. I was about to say, it didn't look like any other folks had comments.
Warm down.
If you do, now's your time. Ms. Abbott, you had asked to have the floor and the mic.
Go ahead.
I need the mic. I would like to make a motion that we craft a response to the DOT. And I am open to input and suggestions, so give me a chance.
That's what we always do.
I would like to craft a response to the DOT, CC the governor, and say that we approve the roundabout design in concept, that we have concerns. Excuse me. Thank you.
Yes.
That we approve of the intent and goals and of the design in concept, that we have concerns with the design that we would like to discuss and address with the public and with the council, that we have concerns with how the design was presented to us without prior review or discussion. And that we would like the opportunity for discussion and comment and revisions to the plan, and a timeline for how those comments and revisions are going to be addressed prior to construction.
I'll second that motion. May I speak to it?
Yeah, the motion has been made and seconded, Mr. Levesque.
You folks actually, I'm gonna tell you something.
Come to the point, please.
This is a representative democracy. There are maybe 800 people here. There are 17,000 in this town. All right, there are any number of more people that we've already recognized use these roads every day. The fact that you can pack a room and say, we don't want something. Somebody mentioned, I don't see anybody here who's in favor of it. Well, when you're in favor of something, you normally don't show up. It's just kind of a gratis. All right, here's the thing. You know, you can all yell as much as you want. Right now, I yelled at people, I get upset. By the way, ma'am, I want to tell you something. I yell at people when I feel they're making an accusation towards me about me being uncaring or uninvolved. And I felt that your comments strayed in that direction. If they did not, I apologize. I do happen to have a certain amount of temper that I sometimes do not fully control. Now, I'm going to support this motion because, quite frankly, I believe, don't everybody rush the exit at once. I believe that the DOT will in fact, and has in fact, played very well for the town of Portland. As I said, and you know, you talk about patches. Patches are a disaster, everybody knows that. We've already had all the.
I just have one thing.
Please wait until the councilman is finished.
Go ahead.
I will let
You
you.
walked up. Why don't you
No,
say
no, no, no,
something?
Chuck, I would like you to finish.
Finish.
No, I'm not going to finish. I want her to talk.
No, no, give me the microphone.
No.
Give me the.
Look, all right, I'll speak. I'll finish.
You may have the floor. When you are done, the next speaker speaks. That's how we conduct business.
All right.
Then don't be.
I believe that we can rely on them. I did, as I mentioned to you, the project, and it actually took me a lot of work from Bank Newport all the way down to Route 24. I did the Turnpike Avenue project with DOT. I managed to overcome a lot of concerns they had with the town of Portsmouth. Somebody mentioned something about the beautiful project they had to do East Main Road and fix it up. One of the problems we run up is that Middletown's concept for East Main Road is entirely different than ours. All right, they had no interest in what we wanted to do with East Main Road. We have to address East Main Road, and first and quite frankly, it's all the cuts in it, all the people that can come in and out of it. Somehow or another, if we can do that, we can have a more responsive. I don't know if we can ever really build ourselves out of it, and that we're going to have some alternate transportation. I have been trying to deal with the rail forever, but most people don't want it. They'll come here to a meeting like this and say it's impractical. I'm just telling you, I hope DOT accepts our rather long approval. And we have another chance to talk about this, and I think you'll find that they'll be very helpful and cooperative.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Councilmember. Man.
Stephanie Hinault, 54 Foxborough Avenue. We get to vote on a lot of things that happen to this town. How come we don't get to vote on this?
I think you're putting everything out to referendum, everything.
Yeah, because we normally get to vote for
We're gonna
things like
have
that.
the,
And I work at Clements.
No, not at this.
I work at Clements and
If
I am a little concerned
If I
about
may answer
losing
your
my
question,
job.
if I may answer your question.
Yeah.
In general, very few questions are just put on the ballot for general decision-making. We're all on the ballot, right? And you like our work, you vote for us. You don't like our work, you don't vote for us. And we're all fine with that. Charter changes, bonds questions, money. those get put on the ballot, land acquisition or sale. So there's actually very few things that go to the ballot. And that is the structure of our government. If you read the town charter, it explains what form of government we have and how we operate.
Representative democracy.
So yes, we, as Mr. Levesque keeps repeating, we are a representative democracy, which is to say we are democratically elected to represent people. We are the policy-making body in town that gives direction to the town administration that carries it out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have a motion and a second. Others wish to speak to it?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Trying to turn on the microphone. Unfortunately, I couldn't support the motion as it's.
They can't hear you.
Can't support the motion as it's been presented because a yes to DOT is a go forward with the project. I would rather have DOT come down and collaborate with us prior to them going forward. However, everyone needs to realize that that means the rest of East Main Road doesn't get done either. So we could be looking, I want you to know, you could be looking at 5, 10, another 15, as Mr. Driscoll said, we could be having a, way back in 23, they said they were gonna come down and fix this and they never came, conversation.
Yeah.
So just be aware of that. My discussion with them today was, if we say no, they will figure out what to do at the intersection, but they're just gonna mill and overlay and fix intersections and they'll go away. That means no new curbing. That means no sidewalks, potentially. I think we could still negotiate the sidewalk because you're not really, you're replacing, you're not adding impervious surface. And because of federal ADA compliance, they're gonna put in a ton at every intersection, handicap ramps to nowhere. If you've been down at the bottom of Union Street, they put them in there. Handicap ramps that go up onto the grass. So I just want everybody to be aware of what a yes or no vote does for this evening.
Mr. Hamilton, so actually, before I speak, Mr. Gleason, Dr. Ryan, did you wish to weigh in? I'd like to.
And if I'm thinking, but if Mr. Gleason wants to speak, that's fine.
Gleason.
I'm not in support. I'm to support the motion as made. And RIDOT's going to do whatever they want to do anyways. I have very little faith in them. I'm on the water board. I've seen what we've gone through there to try and get drawings from them from their standpoint. They, and also let's mention Teddy's Beach. They offered that to the town and they gave us a purchase and sales agreement, but wouldn't allow us to step onto the property to do our due diligence to find out what's there. We no longer have a deal with RIDOT to buy Teddy's Beach, thank God. Although something needs to be done with it. Anyways, whether it's right or wrong, I don't have a good feeling that RIDOT is going to make this roundabout effective for Chief Ford to run his vehicles through there. Just looking at the drawing up there, the little scale shows 1 inch is 40 feet, and we're lucky if this roundabout is 80 feet around. And it's already encroaching on the property at Clements Market. So if the statement made prior to somewhere in discussion is you need 150 to 200 feet of center for 20,000 vehicles, which is what we have. If that's true, then this roundabout is too small and Tracy's gonna lose more land and other people are gonna lose more property just to put this roundabout in. It doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you.
Dr. Ryan, you don't need to weigh in, but see, I just want to make sure you all have an opportunity.
Yeah, this is a very unpleasant situation to be in. The DOT sort of did the same
thing with Teddy's Beach, we were told buy it or not, you can't inspect and get no more information before you make a purchase decision. And as a council, we reasoned and said, well, if we don't know what the hazards are down there, what the liabilities are down there, we are not committing the town's funds and the town's risk to buying something we don't know anything about. Unfortunately, I think we're in something of a similar position here. There's a lot of very valid concerns being raised tonight by business owners, particularly Clements, and the drawing, which is gone now, but it's difficult to really, it would be nice before we were asked to vote for them to come down and explain how this was going to work, how vehicles were going to move through this thing. And unfortunately, they're sort of giving us a pig in a poke here, which is not an optimal situation. I am likewise skeptical, given the treatment of the town by DOT of their goodwill towards the town. Unfortunately, they are the Department of Transportation. This is Rhode Island. If they don't pave this road, it doesn't get paved. And they have shown a good deal of disinterest in Aquidneck Island over the last 20 years. And I'm just afraid, I mean, we all know that. I mean, God, just drive around here. So I'm I'm also afraid that if we tell Mr. LV no, I don't know who said it, but he's going to he's going to just pick up his marbles and go home. So, well, but I would like a paved road too.
Yeah.
Again, right now, we all pay taxes. And I watch people bicycling because they want to commute, and a 15-mile long island should be navigable by bicycle. There shouldn't be any reason why it isn't. But going up and down East Main Road on a bicycle, you might as well just shoot yourself. The potholes, the storm drains. It's just, when I was a kid, I had a summer job over on the Navy base, and I could bicycle from Satchers Drive to across East Main Road, West Main Road to the Navy base. And I did not feel in imminent danger of death. We all do now. I have patients who come down from Burrillville, and I've heard at least 3 times in the past year. And then we got on into Portsmouth, and my wife started screaming, watch out, because they're not used to a street where each lane is 2 feet too narrow. So we've got lots of problems with East Main Road, but we have a state that doesn't seem to be that interested in solving that problem. So I do not like this plan we're being given. I also don't like the choice we're being given, but I also don't have faith that if we say, well, we don't, that becomes more hazardous every year either. So it's a little difficult to know what to do here. If we did phrase this motion by saying we would like to hold work, that isn't really an option we're being given. Right. It sounds either like we approve their project in principle, or they will no longer talk to us. And as people have pointed out, and I think rightly so, if we do say yes, how likely are they to change any of their plans, even if we do talk to them? I don't know that either. So we're kind of at this point.
Yeah, speak up and right into it.
I think it's the red button, yeah.
Yeah. That's our situation. I think the decision we are being asked to make is not appropriate. The way it was presented to us is not appropriate, and it's not the way it should work. That said, I did discuss this with
Now, there have been many crashes, pedestrian deaths, including a death on a nearby sidewalk, severe pedestrian injuries, etc. The roundabout plan was partly developed to correct issues that cause these conditions. This is a little bit of a snarky comment. We've heard some of those tonight too. The only thing wrong with roundabouts is the people using them.
It's back.
Tiverton's isn't a problem. Let's see, roundabouts are safer than any other option. At least that's what the statistics indicate. I'll stop here. I have 4 pages of this. I'm on page 2, so I could. It is not all the same person, and it doesn't. All the negative ones here tonight. Here's the point, though. It doesn't. Here's the point. If you make, excuse me, please, while everyone else was talking at the podium, we tried to keep folks from shouting out, so that we could hear what all of our comments were. My point is, and if you'd like, I can continue reading, but my point is that yours are not the only opinions in town, and just like your opinions, their opinions are reasonable and they're entitled to their opinions. Some of them are well-founded in statistics and data, some of them are baseless speculation, just like what we've heard tonight. It's a mix. Here's where I come down on all of this. The statistics do show that roundabouts are safer, calm traffic, they work, but not 100% of the time. And the statistics show that those that don't work are not outliers. It's like 25, 75%, 78% show good results. 22, 25%, those aren't outliers. That's a big chunk of roundabouts that just didn't work, which means they can be built well, they can be placed well, or you could have a situation like we've heard tonight about in Apponaug. The Department of Transportation has not earned the benefit of the doubt from us. This experience with Penny's Beach, where they essentially said, oh, we'll sell it to you for $100,000, under 50, thank you. Which even at that cost would be an opportunity for Portsmouth to do something that folks in town could use, something we've talked about trying to acquire for a long time. But they said, oh no, you're just gonna sign this contract and pay us, and no, you can't conduct your inspections. That doesn't engender a whole lot of trust. There's 2 ways, or multiple ways, but largely 2 ways to craft a nuanced response to the DOT. One is yes, but, the other is no, but. I suggest, and look, the DOT is going to read into our response, whatever they choose to read into, and do whatever they want to do, because they're the DOT. I suggest we remove the yes, and we remove the no, and just give them the, here's what we want. We would like some more engagement from you. We'd like to see the final plans before we weigh in. We'd like all of the things we've heard all of the people talk about. And if they give us that, we'll support it or not, depending on what that final data is. Every 2 years, I run on a platform that may not impress people, but the platform is, I make my decisions based on the facts and the data, not on the emotions. And we just don't have the facts or data. Mr. Ryan.
Oh, are you done?
I am, if you want to speak.
Oh, I just have a question.
Sure.
I think that would actually be ideal. But I'd like to ask our town administrator, if we did give them such a response, we feel we do not have enough information to make an informed decision on your proposal. What's the likelihood they'll take that as anything but a no and go away?
Oh, highly likely.
I haven't talked to them, you have.
I can't. Hello? Yep, there you go. Obviously, I can't speak for DOT.
No. You had to guess.
We did receive correspondence back in November that stated that if the department doesn't receive a decision regarding the roundabout until mid-December, there will be minor modifications. So obviously, mid-December is a key metric in this project.
2 weeks.
So we'll do what the council decides to do. However, it is a state road, and there is the chance that they would just turn this into a milling and overlay project. And they've already stated to us what would happen if it's only a milling and overlay project. And it seems like at least the people here are happy with that. We don't have control over DOT, but we can certainly, and we will. I know that there are members of DOT watching this now. And we will, I'm sure, have long conversations starting tomorrow morning about what it is you decide to do tonight. It's not a clear-cut answer. I get it. But this is not a clear-cut issue.
If I could just respond to that.
Well, okay,
Go ahead.
Respond.
Already.
I think if it is framed, I think if it is framed, this is starting to die, the battery, isn't it? I think.
Talk faster.
I think if it is framed as out of a sense of fairness to the town council and the people of Portsmouth, we ask for further information before being pressed into decision, and maybe DOT says, yeah, that's fair, or maybe they don't. We can't control that. All we can do is ask, and I'm prepared to do that tonight. I'm not prepared to vote yes on this tonight, because I just don't think we have, I don't know what I'm voting yes on.
For what apparently is a maybe.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
a request.
I'm looking at my calendar, and Mr. Administrator, you said that they told you they needed an answer by mid-December. Am I correct?
I think that microphone is going out. Here, try this.
I killed it.
Here, how about this? That
Oh,
one?
maybe.
I took it from that one.
Very helpful.
This one, actually, I think this one's out.
Okay. I think the school department wants us to leave. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, you're not moving, so I'm not thinking you're hearing me. Okay, good. Mr. Administrator, they said they needed a decision from us by mid-December. Is that correct?
I'm waiting for my. They're looking for, I'll state exactly what was written to us. If the department, DOT, does not receive a decision regarding the roundabout until mid-December, there will be minor modifications to the schedule as far as advertising dates and construction startup, but nothing major that will derail the project. If the answer is no, it becomes a mill and overlay project. If the answer is, if we go back and say the answer is we need more information, maybe that's good enough for them and it just delays the start of the project. I don't have the answer to that.
The question I'm asking you is, do they need our answer by mid-December, or do they need their answer tonight?
I was supposed to give them an answer Tuesday. So, I mean, I asked them, well, they were obviously online and they knew that nothing happened on Monday. And they were having a meeting tonight. They're expecting a call tomorrow. They're on tonight. Their project engineer at least was on tonight, so he knows what's going on.
All right, thank you very much.
So I don't know I don't know how to answer you, sir.
With the motion, are you moving to amend the motion to say not yes, but maybe? It's your motion.
That's my suggestion, and I'm chairing, so I can't make a motion.
I'm not gonna do it. You want to do it?
Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Ryan has made a
I move that we amend the answer we're giving to the DOT to one of, we really would like more information and are requesting. And we're requesting a meeting with representatives from DOT to inform us because the council does not feel that it has adequate information to make a decision in the best interests of our community.
Now, are you making that as an emotion, an amendment?
Yes.
To the motion? So the motion would no longer say, the motion would no longer say yes. The motion would not say yes or no. The motion would contain your comments or your,
It's cast as an
if
amendment.
you don't understand verbiage, and the verbiage of the original motion. Is that correct?
Everybody right now?
Amendment.
Your amendment is to replace all of
Yes,
the
to
original.
replace it, basically, yeah.
Better off just
Yes,
voting on the motion and then making a new one.
well, the motion made by Mr. Ryan is recognized, and the effect of it would be to replace the original motion and hold with it.
I think we vote on the main motion and make a new one.
So you're not getting.
So there's no second
No.
for Mr. Ryan's motion yet, because we may come back to you. There is a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, can we repeat the motion, please?
Sure, if the clerk is able to get that.
I lost part of it.
Mr. Gleason, it was yes with some stipulation.
It was yes with some.
I can try to repeat it if you want me to.
Craft a response to DOT, CC the governor, to the state that we approve the roundabout's intent. But I'm reading it.
Come
Excuse me,
on.
reading the motion that was already made.
Take the temperature.
Go ahead, Ms. Madam Clerk.
All right, we approve the roundabout with, and the roundabout's intent, but we still have concerns on how it would be, is that it?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I'll do my best here. The original motion was to craft a response to DOT, include the governor, that we approve the intent of the roundabout design in concept, but we have concerns with how it has been presented to us and would like the opportunity to discuss and provide our comment and feedback prior to approving the design.
So that was the motion that was made and seconded. Are we
I seconded
clear on
it.
that? Yes, it was
I'm pretty
seconded.
sure.
Yes, yep.
You didn't
All,
change anything, did you?
no. All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
That motion fails. Mr. Ryan, would you like the floor?
I would like.
Would you like the floor?
Well, we do that.
Mr. Ryan wants the floor.
Yeah,
Go
but he's
ahead.
gonna make a motion. I have a procedural motion.
Okay, go for it.
I would like to be recorded on voting on the affirmative, on the prevailing side of that motion. So you understand what that means is that I may have an opportunity to bring this motion back up at some future date. That's Robert's Rules of Order. So that's what I'm doing, just so none of you think I pulled a fast one.
Yes.
Which I
Thank you.
am, by the way.
Thank you.
But we do, Chuck. All right. So my motion, if I can remember what I was saying a few minutes ago, I would craft a response to DOT, and yeah, that's an excellent idea. CC the governor that.
And our state delegation.
No, that's right, our state delegation. Yeah, those people too. I know
Those
one of
people.
them. That we feel that we are in receipt of the information they've given us. However, we feel that it is inadequate to come to a decision that would best serve the interests of our town. And we would request that they come to our town, arrange a meeting so that these plans can be discussed and the citizenry's questions answered.
I will second that motion.
This isn't doing anything. This isn't doing anything.
Here we go.
Can I make a suggestion that you,
A motion is made. Go ahead, Mr.
can I just make a suggestion, you add a time frame to that motion? That they come back within 2 weeks with an
Right.
answer?
Right. Yeah, I completely, exactly. So the meet, the aforementioned meeting should occur within the next 2 weeks.
Everybody
That is a
agree?
motion made. Is there a second? There is a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
That motion passes.
I like that.
Yeah. Sorry?
New business 3.
Yes, so we now move on to new.
That was me. That was me. I will make a motion that we table new business 3 until they come in and talk to us.
I'll second that.
Motion is made to take.
New business 3 is a discussion on
Like
lighting and work and sound and all that fun stuff, and since we're not doing anything with them yet, there's
Does it
no sense to talk about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, makes perfect sense. There's a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
This one looks much
Motion passes.
Congratulations.
I would like
Have a
to
baby.
thank everyone for their input and
Let's
all
go
my
with
council
trash
members for their patience and listening.
Same crowd.
Here's where we are.
You're about to be replaced.
Yes.
Revolution, revolution.
Before I turn the mic over to my
There we go.
esteemed president, you've heard a lot of procedural stuff and there's some questions about how government works. Like, especially Mr. Levett's, I voted on the prevailing side. That's really in the weeds. And this is just dying.
Kevin, say hi, I'm back, let's go.
Yeah, all I want to say is,
Oh, this is one.
this is how it works. I know it's awkward. It's awkward for us too. But this is how we do it. And now, gratefully, Mr.
Send it this
President.
way. Len,
Welcome.
send it this way.
This,
That's not turning on.
We all
yeah,
wanted
is
to
there a
be here on
charger over there for these
Thursday
things?
I got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Mr. President, can I request a 5-minute recess, please?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I just left. Bio break.
I know, I think I have the contact.
Trip. I'm unplugged.
I did dump a Jason.
Be better.
It was just not fair.
These things, people.
Well, it was my family.
Plugged in and recharged.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I could.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Yes, I can tell you that it's about risk reward on the trip wide. No. Here.
Yeah, but she muted it. When she turns it back on, it'll work.
By the way, if I were to get
Kevin, does that one work?
It just hasn't
We
turned
do
on.
it. I can.
Yeah.
Try it my way.
Yeah.
We can make it real easy. How's that?
Okay, that's good.
All right.
I know how
yeah.
often my hand can be.
I think.
So.
Oh, hello. Where's our? I lost her. I don't see her. Oh no, I don't. Where's our,
Oh.
a lady who's in control of the audio. Good. I'm looking for.
Oh, is it off?
Yeah.
We're on now, Kevin.
Okay, if everybody could settle back in. And I need to find.
No trash, no trash. That'd be nice. Yeah. Oh. You're doing that? It's a concert.
It should be all off. Yeah, we're all off over here. There you go. Here, try this one instead of that one.
That's what we're here for.
Trying to adjust the microphones up there so it doesn't do that.
Who cares? It's not how's this?
Well, you're not screeching in our ears.
Part of the plan, all part of the plan.
All part of the plan.
Wait, you're
The doctor trap.
Hey,
He's trying to control for
yeah,
yeah,
you know, I've got a lot of orthopedic doctor friends who need business.
Make it go.
That's the announcement.
Okay, we're gonna continue on to new business number one, which is, it's a request the current RFP pertaining to the operation of the transfer station for bulky waste drop-off and diversion items include an option for bids to keep.
You have to really talk into it.
Okay, basically swallow the mic.
There's room in the auditorium. If you're in the hallway and you want to hear, maybe come inside.
Actually, the people on front.
Okay, I'll try this one more time. Request the current RFP pertaining to the operation of the transfer station for bulky waste drop-off and diversion items include an option for bids to keep the transfer station open in its entirety as currently operating. The RFP shall include bids with use of town trash bags and without. Also request discussion and RFP and review of RFP to be held in open meeting. Mr. Gleason.
Mr. President.
Oh, Mike.
That one works.
That's a good mic.
Council, fresh batteries.
There you go.
At the risk of disappointing a lot of people, I'm prepared to speak on this issue, but I would like to give the council the opportunity for me to table this issue and continue it till January.
Second. Thank you.
Next, I'm not including the next item, which would be Mr. Woodhead's item for the sticker changes, but I carry on the business in regarding the transfer station into January.
Okay.
Did you second?
We have a motion and a second to table new business.
They want us out of here. To January.
To January.
I'm only doing it because we're starting at 9:30, what is it, 9:45 now? I just don't think we're gonna have the time to do this unless you want to stay till 11:30.
Well, we can't. The school department is asking us to leave by 10.
Hey, I got this.
Okay.
I got this.
Okay.
And I step out for a couple hours.
You see what happens?
It's my show.
I've lost my respect for you completely.
We do have a hard stop at 10 o'clock. The school folks do need to clean up after us. So we have a hard stop at 10. Mr. Gleason, I respect his request. We have a motion and a second to table new business number 1.
Just to clarify, there is no hard stop. We can go till tomorrow morning if we want. There's paid overtime to the janitors.
No, we are
to do that.
We're not doing that. We are stopping at 10 o'clock.
Why don't you ask the people what they want?
Because of how we conduct.
We have a motion by a counselor who has this item on the agenda to table it until our January meeting. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It'll be maybe the first meeting in January.
8th or the 8th or the 22nd, so the 8th.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a little early for us to project, but it will probably be here.
Gonna have to be. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. President, move we adjourn?
No, we are not adjourning. Our next item is to request approval of the 2024 to 2025 18-month transfer station sticker fee and rule changes. Mr. Woodhead.
Council President, members of the council, can you hear me? No. You hear me now?
Yeah, pick up it on. Like really, yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. There you go.
Yes. Council President, members of the council, I'm here before you to present a comprehensive overview of the revenue and expenses for Portsmouth Transfer Station for the calendar year 23, along with the projected revenues and expenses resulting in proposal of the transfer station sticker for the 18 months sticker cost ending June 30th, 2025. So I'd like to start with the calendar year 2023. I'll start off. I'm just going to read the highlighted revenues and I'll jump over to the expenses. So the sticker revenues that we projected was $611,835.04. The general revenue, we have $29,326.51. And then the bag revenue of $248,880. That gives us a total combined revenue of $890,041.55. So now the expenses. For the operation of transportation is $586,438.08. The round resource tipping fees is $79,427.50. Then other expenses of $135,033.38. And then we have the bag expenses of $74,870.48. So that gives us a total expense of $875,769.44. And that gave us a surplus of $14,272.11. So So then we were requested to do the 18-month sticker. So this is going to be from January 1st, 2024 until June 30th, 2025. And these are the projected costs that we anticipate that we're going to have. So once again, the general revenue, we anticipated $33,249.69. A bag revenue of $373,320. So this gives us a total revenue of $406,569.69. Now, the expenditures for the operation and the transportation, we came up with $903,759.20. Tipping fees, $125,766. Other expenses, $187,519.53. And then the bag cost is $49,610. The bag cost is a little bit lower because we've just purchased bags, and those are supposed to last us for at least 6 months until June of this year. So that last one is just for a 1-year purchase. So that gives us a total projected price of $1,266,654.73. And then when you minus off the revenue of the $406,569.69, you come up with a cost of $860,085.04. Then you have to take out the surplus that we had from last year, the $14,272.11. That gives us $845,812.93 that we need to come up with, that we divided by the 2,200 residents. I mean, we only did 2,200 residents. We came up to $385 for an 18-month sticker cost for the year.
For the 18 months.
18 months, correct.
A year.
So when you come up with the 18-month sticker cost, that translates to $21.39 per month, or $256.68 per year, which represents a modest increase of $6 over the previous sticker cost. So I just request the council to approve the fees for the additional necessary operational expenses associated with the Portsmouth Transfer Station.
Motion to approve.
Second. Move to approve. Never mind.
So we have a motion and a second. Question, please.
Can't speak.
Get used to mics.
All right, I'm guessing this one's no good.
I think that's dead, Kevin. I was yelling.
Yeah, I just replaced them.
That's such a melodious.
Let's, I think these were rechargeables. No?
Nope.
No, all right. Okay, so I guess we'll have some comments on the sticker fee.
It's agreed, 110 Thayer Drive. If the proposed 18-month sticker is really sticking the transfer station into the financial year, then a 6-month would do this. I have a real concern about the amount of the sticker fee, $385, not to me, but to the people that are struggling to pay the $250 immediately after the holidays. $385 in January is an enormous amount. I oppose the 18-month, I'm in favor of a 6-month and then a 12-month. But if you insist on doing the 18-month, please allow the residents to pay for their sticker over time.
Well, there goes our last mic.
Now nobody can talk.
Is Mr. Green here?
Got to let the gentleman here.
That's okay.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I mean, you brought your own chair, but.
Yeah. So.
Sorry.
I've often thought that a bad time for collecting sticker fees is
right after the holidays, you know, and I think we would have more people from Portsmouth using it if it was, say, around June. So this might give us a chance to push over to June. So maybe, like the lady said, if you could get I'll pay you whatever you want. And I know my daughter will too. But,
Hey, Colonel, can you just do me a favor for the record? Colonel Vickers.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you, sir.
John Vickers from 50 and Hudson Court.
Thank you.
In Portsmouth. Okay. If you can figure out some way that they could pay the small amount, you know, in January, and then sometime between, say, April and June, you pay the balance. I think it'd be a lot easier on most people because it would be hard coming up with the funds right after the holiday. Other than that, it looks like we're going to have a real decision postponed to January. And, it'll all be ready.
I think the microphone is shaded.
Could anybody hear me?
No.
No, I was just kidding.
Yeah, I found this. They're not coming back.
Well, there I am.
There you go.
All right. I just was saying that if we could have only the first 6 months paid in this January of 2024, and then the following year come up in May or June, it'd be a lot easier on people who are short of cash right after the holidays. And I'm also happy to hear that we're gonna have a full-fledged discussion of what we'll do with the transfer station in January. I just quickly want to make a response to that.
I agree with you. I prefer things on the fiscal year, which in town of Portsmouth is July 30th. And I think that would look it down. But I mean, it seems to me that might make sense to do a 6-month interim and then put it on a fiscal year so that we have it actually around the time of our budgeting.
And I think it's easier for people that come up with June.
Well, I get a lot of Christmas money.
All right, it's,
Okay,
You don't think so?
I forgot to mention, as a couple of people have said, that we appreciate all the time that the council people put in on trying to run our government through the storm. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't hear that, Colonel. What was that?
I'm trying to tell you how good a job you're doing.
Thank you, Carl.
Mr. President.
Nancy Zitka, 11 Shaver Drive. I know that you just had a vote on the fee for next year and the next 18 months. I just wanted to say a couple of things very quickly. I know we're going to have a meeting in January.
Yeah, no, I don't want to.
But I did want to say that I would be happy personally to pay more for my transfer station sticker, because I don't think that this council has ever taken into consideration that the dump is not just a convenience for some people, it's essential for some people. People like me that will have to pay a fortune to a landscaper to take away my yard waste if you close the station. So for people like me, I would be happy to pay more. Perhaps you could even contemplate
Save it for January.
something like that.
I appreciate the comments, but now's not the time for those comments.
This
This
not
is
what we're
really about the
discussing.
sticker fee. So please.
Yes.
Karen Gleason, 63 Massasoit. Now, just please bear with me. I'm just gonna make a statement about an opinion that I have.
Is it about the sticker fee?
It's about the sticker fee
Okay.
and the price. $385. I just find that strange that we're doing that now for the next 18 months, because the transfer station, the current contract expires 2025. So they want to do an 18-month price. At $385, what do you think the cost is going to be regarding option one? Option two that was voted on the last time we were here.
That's irrelevant.
October 23rd, please let me finish.
That has nothing to do.
RFPs
No.
come back and the
No.
price is just under $385. Would that be a coincidence or not?
Point of order, Mr.
If I may give a point of order, Mr. President, the speaker at the podium is doing a disservice to all of the people in town who left because we aren't discussing that topic. I'm sure they'd all love to be here. This is
I'm
not
just
in
talking about the
order.
sticker
You're
price.
not talking about the
I'm
sticker
talking about
price.
the sticker price, and my concern is,
It's all yours.
it's amazing how they get so upset at me. I don't know if people understand where I'm going with this.
You're doing a disservice to everybody who
I'm not
left.
doing a disservice.
To everybody who left, yes, you are.
Okay, let's just move on.
Can we just deal
People
with,
that left
okay, ma'am,
don't know anything about the sticker price. That was their choice to leave.
can we discuss this?
They know exactly what the sticker price is.
You guys are all getting upset over, wow, one little thing that I
Just
said.
want to discuss.
That's,
I just want to make a point.
okay,
Why we.
sticker price. And
You were
first, the
doing
sticker price
something
goes.
sneaky about the price.
You're
That's
not-
exactly what you were
That's what I'm
suggesting.
saying. That is absolutely
not
right.
there.
And I told people to bear
Don't
with
be
me.
so
It's a
innocent.
thought of mine. It's a thought of mine. It's an opinion. I have a right to an opinion. And
Enough.
also, I want to say
Enough.
about
No.
the sticker price, the
Stop.
18 months.
Chief, just
Six
stop.
months,
Ms. Gleason,
6 months would be
stop.
better. Wait a minute.
No,
Done.
stop.
6 months would be cheaper
All
than
right,
12
we're
months.
gonna, we're just gonna
We
stop.
can't do 6 months, because if you do 6 months, you have to do two sets of stickers. And everybody would have to go back in July to buy another sticker.
Okay, how about 12 months?
We could
About 18 months, so we circle around, the same motion that was made 6 times in the past 2 years.
Yep.
To set up a 18-month sticker to get it on the fiscal year. I will make a motion to approve the $385 18-month sticker fee.
Can I just make one suggestion? My name is
second that.
Meredith Darden. I'm at 58 Arrowhead Lane. In terms of having to go back for another sticker, I think it would be wise to do a 6-month sticker and then a 12-month sticker, but to put the stickers in our town tax bill.
Can't.
And why not? Please let me finish. If we added the fee to the town bill, give everyone a sticker, and if you don't need the sticker, then bring your proof of how you're getting rid of your trash and return the sticker for a discount off your tax.
That's simple. That's simple, sure.
Chuck, Mr. Levesque.
That's all I wanted to say.
I'm being sarcastic, I know.
I have a motion and a second.
Give him the microphone.
Mr. President, Mr. Hamilton, could we not prorate,
Nobody can hear.
could we not prorate the stickers in January for a June 30th date and just have them done? And actually probably limit a little bit the paperwork, that if you come in and say you got one in January, we don't really make you go through too many hoops.
It would have to be a completely separate sticker, because there's no way to enforce that. You would have to. If I gave you, Mr. Levesque, a sticker that said 2025 on it, are you coming back to pay me the extra money?
Are you challenging my integrity?
No, we're not.
No.
We're not. We're gonna stay on point
Yeah, we're
here.
gonna say, all in favor.
So,
Yes.
and again, with the.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
We have a motion and a second, and I do understand the comments, and I believe during COVID, we extended the period for payment of stickers, because that's what we did during COVID. It was a 30-month extension, something like that, where we could defer it, but for years, we have always done the sticker fee in January. So, you know, you're only talking about the extra 6 months fee. So every year, people have paid the $250, the $240 every January that we've had stickers. So I understand your concern. This is just the additional 6-month sticker fee. If we extend it to 30 days or whatever, I think that would be something that would be reasonable. There's no conspiracy. We're trying to get things back online. We all know that by the numbers, that the 256 a year sounds like a very good deal. So I thank you for your hard work there, you know.
Be the Grinch. Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Good job.
7-0.
The motion.
I still have one more thing on the council agenda, it's just the rules and regulation changes.
Oh, yeah.
They're tweaked. The majority of them has just changes to dates. Some of them are, the major big thing is, well, major big thing, but a weekly transfer station sticker is only limited to solid waste and recyclables. And then the next few things are just websites that were inadequate, and then we had to change them back over. And then the next biggest thing is the yard waste. And I'll read it to you. The yard waste drop off is for your personal residence only and must not include your professional gardening or landscape business, nor shall it include yard waste from your resident if you hire someone to maintain your yard. You should not bring yard waste from any place of business or commercial enterprise. That's like the biggest change that we've put on it. We're trying to combat our yard waste because we are at the cap with only 2,200 residents. And that cap is for everybody in town, not just for that small majority of them. So I just want, that was the biggest thing. And the rest of it is just little changes, word changes in websites that they can go to.
All right, Mr. President, man, are you done? I'm done.
I'm done, yeah.
All right, Mr. President, I do want the director to pay some attention to the signage because very quick. I went up there one time and just asked the person, because I don't have a sticker, about how do I get rid of a mattress? And he said, well, you need a sticker. I said, oh, okay. He goes, well, you can just get a friend to do it. Okay. Now, the sign should be big, and we should have, and I hate to do this, but we should have some enforcement. We should have at least maybe a camera. It's not a private area. That says, look, and matter of fact, doing the recyclables would be easy. If you come across a bunch of Middletown or Newport addresses, they shouldn't be using our recycling. So, I mean, I would like to just see better signage and maybe some concept about enforcement.
For the record, we do have cameras at the transfer station. And I would make a motion that we accept the rules as presented, the rule changes.
Second.
Hey, just to let everyone know too, next council meeting is going to be the prudence on rules, because I have a meeting on there on Saturday with the planning commission, so we'll change the rules over there too.
Okay, so we did have a motion in a second, but.
You're open for comment?
I am.
Okay. I'm looking at page 36.
Of what?
Of the last year's audit.
We're on the rules.
I understand. But my internet works slow inside of a building. And I'm 71 and I'm real slow. But give me a break. The transfer station made in surplus $35,833. And what I actually thought I heard Brian say was only 14.
That was last year.
This is the audit.
That's as
You can see it. Is the transfer station and the operating income loss, and the losses, and the number is not in parentheses, says $35,833. It's page 36.
That's last year, that's not this year.
That was
But that's last year's. That's what he was talking about, of having a surplus.
This year.
No, it's actually.
2023.
Oh, okay, I'm an error. Thank you.
Never mind. That's the internet. Fake
No,
news.
it's a 71-year-old man.
You were right the first time.
So we have a motion and a second on the rule change. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Woodhead.
Thank you.
Have a good time out in Prudence.
So where's our agenda?
Future meetings.
Future
Meetings and then adjourn.
Future meetings, December 6th, 11th. I'm looking at 6 p.m. And so it's December 11th.
Which year?
6 p.m.
Town hall.
Town council. December 26th meeting is canceled. Then we have our January 8th meeting at, you may have to check on the venue. January 8th meeting and then January 22nd meeting. One of those will be the continuation. And so we'll have to just check on the availability for where those meetings are going to be, and we'll update you on December 11th.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes
I don't know which one it was.
7-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.